the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. At ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/FREE. ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Bring your smile for Coca-Cola Photo Night on Saturday, August 5th at 6:05 and take photos of your favorite Phils. Gates open at 4:05 and field access is limited, so be sure to arrive early. Order tickets now at Phillies.com. Join us as we honor Phillies greats, former GM John Quinn and former owner Rudy Carpenter during Toyota Phillies Wall of Fame Night on Saturday, August 12th at 6:05 when the Phils take on the Twins. Order tickets at Phillies.com.
Stop by your local grocery outlet to participate in our annual Independence from Hunger Drive. This is a great way to support your local food organizations. So take part in our Give 5, Get 5 program. Donate $5 and get a $5 coupon for a future visit. Donations made in-store stay in your local community. Join us in our fight against hunger by visiting your local grocery outlet today. Going on now through the end of July.
Grocery outlet, bargain market.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Always live on the free Odyssey app. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Live and local from Philadelphia. Free speech lives here. It's Kayal and Company on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And away we go, live on this Thursday morning, July 27th. It is indeed Kayal and Company here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We are always live on the free Odyssey app, streaming live for your video viewing pleasure on YouTube as we head until 10 o'clock this morning. 855-839-1210, the phone number. We are on social media at 1210 WPHT. I am at Nick Kayal, Kayal. Dawn Stenzlin with the news. Greg Stocker, the chairman of the board. Anthony Dorenzo, Daniel Valdez, our associate producers. Action-packed show today. All sorts of good stuff lined up. Dawn, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Happy Thursday.
Nice little traffic diversion getting into the parking garage this morning. Always a welcoming thing at 5:03 in the morning.
Why do they have to do that?
Because I think in Philadelphia, everything is just meant to be difficult. Would you agree, Mr. Stocker?
Yeah, I mean, there needs to be a better way to get down this street than going the wrong way.
All these one-way streets. Put your flashers on. Pray to God the cop doesn't see you. Hope that nobody comes out of an alleyway and clips you with their other car.
That's what I mean.
Oh.
We have to cross over like one of the major streets the wrong way.
Yep.
It's bad. You know?
It's bad.
Stop.
It's all bad.
Stop.
Oh.
Not as bad as it is for Hunter Biden.
No. Or the government with UFO whistleblowers. People freezing up for 20 seconds mid-speech. People will have thoughts and theories on that one. Masks returning for 7-year-olds at highly regarded academic institutions. And we even have a naked shootout.
See, today is the day. If there's ever going to be a day you're going to watch on YouTube, today should be that day. Because there's so much with the Mitch McConnell video that we can kind of freeze frame and analyze.
Yeah.
Which I know is very not super in good taste, but I don't care. And then the naked shooter in
San Francisco.
Yeah.
Today is the day to watch these videos on YouTube.
That is correct.
Yeah.
The visual component today of today's show, off the charts.
Everyone's like, why would anybody want to watch a radio show on TV? It's like, well, for days like today where we can put that out there for people to see as we're talking about it.
That is going to be a good one, and, of course, a loaded cut sheet at 7:45. But before we get to all of that, let's get to the news. Let's find out what's going on in the city of Philadelphia, probably on the negative side of things, but maybe a little drip of good news, perhaps. But we find out right now. Dawn Stenzlin at 6:05 on this Thursday morning.
Yes, and good morning this Thursday, July 27th. We're at 75 degrees right now. Enjoy this temperature right now because we are heating up. In fact, I'll tell you when the heat health emergency will be issued this morning. So we'll give you the timing of the heat wave for sure. But we want to talk about the crime heating up as well, as police say they're investigating after another teenager, shot and killed in South Philadelphia last night. Officers responding to the shooting. It happened around 17th and Christian Streets, near the Christian Street YMCA right there, before 7:30, so before sunset, obviously. Police say that the teen had been walking with a group of other people, about 5-6 other people, including a youth counselor, when 3 suspects pulled up in the car. They get out, they shoot at the victim, clearly a targeted situation. Officers say the ambush was all captured on surveillance video. So they're releasing that and looking for other very clear video that they hope to get. You know, the problem is these guys, they get off in a Dodge Durango. We don't have a motive. We don't have arrests. And it's the usual case in Philadelphia, another tragic shooting involving a teenager. So we're talking about that this morning. I should say another tragedy, a sad day for officials in Bucks County as they ended their active search for the baby who was missing, swept away during severe flooding that killed 6 people, and that included the boy's mommy and 2-year-old sister. So this is 9-month-old Conrad Shields. At this point, they just said that they had exhausted every avenue to try to find the baby and bring the family closure, bring the community some closure. Those rescue crews had saved many lives in the hours after that sweeping situation. They described it as a wall of water and not the fault of people who somehow drove into flooded waters. That was not the case here, but they've called off that search and said that they appreciate the outpouring of gratitude to law enforcement and certainly the family of baby Conrad. They've said that they thank the community for the outpouring of love, support, and kind words during this extremely difficult time.
So this is essentially, if we accidentally come across the remains, that will be like the mode of discovery. We're just not going to pursue it any further.
They found...
It's awful.
They found his 2-year-old sister, Maddie,
right,
30 miles down the Delaware.
And now think about a 9-month-old.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so, I think that this is Upper Makefield Township Police putting out the word, and I think that they just had resolved that they would bring full closure, but it's just the water conditions, everything going on. They've given up hope that they could find those search and dive teams could find him. We should also mention that yet another Jersey Shore town is implementing a curfew for those under 18. So we have a lot of problems with teens and down the shore. And so now this time around, they're saying, nope, this was Ocean City. We've seen this happening we've seen it happen in Ocean City. We've seen it happen in Sea Isle City. And now this one further down in Wildwood. So we'll talk about the Jersey Shore.
Is it working? Is it working keeping these hoodlums off the streets?
Well, in Ocean City, they shut it down. But they brought in so many cops. When you're in OC, there are police everywhere. They're on bikes. They're all over the boardwalk. They actually had a chopper the one night, Saturday night. They are at every single, when you go down to the boardwalk, they're at every single street.
Mm-hmm. And this is a result of bad parenting.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, it's the result really of Governor Phil Murphy and the Democrat-controlled legislature that has essentially tied the hands of police.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
To do what they used to do, which was community policing.
Right.
To talk to say, we're going to take you to your parents or call your parents. They're not allowed to do any of that. And so now these are the hoops that these communities have to jump through.
Yeah, cops cannot notify and contact parents when their kids are out of line.
Yeah,
that's the world we live in.
And Nick, you talk to the store owners, and they've said, it's not kids with families. That's not what we're talking about here. These are kids who are coming to this community. Either the parents are not with the kids, or they've come from wherever.
Yeah,
and they're coming in groups. And I told you the one day they're wearing black socks.
Yeah.
Full black outfits with a black backpack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who wears black socks? Even the dads don't wear black socks with their gym shoes.
That's correct.
At the Jersey Shore.
Although I do wear black socks when I golf occasionally.
No.
But they're real low. They're like, the little low ankle ones.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Well, they're telling you've got to wear the light socks and light clothing.
Oh.
That's one of the heat health emergency tips.
Could also be viewed as racist if you think about it.
No. It's if you wear what the sun reflecting off the white, right?
Yeah, you never want to wear dark colors when it's hot out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So remember that when you're golfing tomorrow and it feels like, 120 degrees.
I'm going to be decked out in all white, Dawn.
We have temperatures expected to soar well into the 90s today, prompting Philadelphia Health Department to issue a heat health emergency. Begins 9 o'clock this morning, and it goes all the way. It does not end until 8 p.m. Saturday, July 29th. So we are really going to feel it, because even though you look at the temperature and it looks like 95, 96, 97 degrees for the next several days, because of this intense humidity, it will feel much more like it's 106 plus degrees.
Mm-hmm.
The feel-like temperatures.
Nothing like walking outside and feeling like you can't even breathe. The air is so heavy.
Yes.
I relish it.
And I know that you'll be talking about Hunter Biden pleads not guilty after a plea deal falls apart in a Wilmington, Delaware courtroom. I suspect we'll be talking about that, so I'll just headline that one.
6:30, dear.
Yes, so we will be discussing this for sure. But let's talk about some good news with our Philadelphia Phillies v. the Orioles. They said, they're the best team in the AL, blah-blah, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the winners. That's the bottom line.
Take 2 out of 3
Boom.
against that team. Now you get to smash Pittsburgh, who stinks. And then the Marlins are really good, and that's a crucial series in the division. So it'll be a very interesting next 7 to 10 days.
Nice. Well, 6-4 win over the Orioles last night. Bye-bye, Baltimore. And we had some the stars last night at Citizens Bank Park, Jake Cave and Edmundo Sosa, 8th and 9th hitters, respectively.
And by the way, the Police Athletic League game coming up at the Phillies on August 9th against the Nationals, and I'll be playing.
Nice.
Yes.
Oh, wait, you'll be playing like first base?
I'm going to fall into the dugout reaching for a foul ball. And have all 1,400 people in the stands at 5 o'clock laugh.
Well, this is first 6 a.m. edition, Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 6:12 on this Thursday morning. Let's get to another big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, the big take this morning. We are not alone. That's right. It's whistleblower season. We haven't heard this term so frequently used in the news media cycle in quite some time. If it's not an IRS whistleblower, it's a UFO whistleblower. Yesterday on Capitol Hill, UFO whistleblower David Grush testified before Congress that the U.S. has recovered non-human biological pilots from crashed spacecrafts. Now, we here at Kayal and Company assume that the encounter sounded and looked something like this. Listen and watch.
Got me out here dragging your heavy ass through the burning desert with your dreadlocks sticking out the back of my parachute. You gotta come down here with an attitude, acting all big and bad. And what the hell is that smell? I could have been at a barbecue!
No, relax. That's just Will Smith from the 1996 summer blockbuster Independence Day, although a barbecue sounds really good right about now. But it does appear that we are not alone. David Grush also testified to Congress that he has direct knowledge of people that were hurt in order to cover up extraterrestrial secrets. He also did not dismiss that people have been murdered to hide UFO secrets. Now, I'm always open to a good conspiracy theory any day of the week. Some I believe, some I'm skeptical of, and some I think are sheer lunacy. But as I've said on this show many times, give it 18 to 24 months, and some of those theories that the mainstream media dismisses have a decent chance of becoming truth. In regards to UFOs, I've long had my doubts. I've said things like, we can find Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, and other terrorists or fugitives in caves, yet we can't produce any concrete evidence of Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, or UFOs and aliens. But I'm always willing to change my views as more information comes to light, and now, more than ever, I do believe that something is going on here, especially after the body cam audio and footage that we showed and played for you of a Las Vegas police officer 2 months ago and his partner capturing footage of what looked like a UFO as they were on patrol, and then interviewing a family a few hours later who said they saw dark, tall silhouettes of some form of life standing in their backyard. Well, here is David Grush testifying yesterday in front of South Carolina's Nancy Mace. Take a listen to this very powerful clip.
intelligent extraterrestrials?
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super. Thank you. And I yield back.
I've never been more excited for a list or a skiff in my entire life. So we have non-human biologics recovered from this alleged confirmation of UFOs and aliens. Wonder how these aliens identify and if they use pronouns. But in all seriousness, that was pretty damning evidence and confirmation from the whistleblower. Again, these whistleblowers have nothing to gain and everything to lose. So most of the time, and in this case specifically, I take them at face value. Here's a headline from the New York Post. UFO whistleblower says these unknown objects are far superior to U.S. tech. Here's another excerpt. David Grush, an intelligence officer who you just heard, for 14 years in the U.S. Air Force at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. He would also go on to say, quote, I became a whistleblower through a PPD-19 urgent concern filing with the Intelligence Community Inspector General, following concerning reports from multiple esteemed and credentialed current and former military and intelligence community individuals that the United States government is operating with secrecy above congressional oversight with regards to UAPs. My testimony is based on information I have been given by individuals with a long-standing track record of legitimacy and service to this country, many of whom also shared compelling evidence in the form of photography, official documentation, and classified oral testimony. That seems pretty legit and quite believable, in my opinion. But maybe this shouldn't come as a complete shocker, but it is for some, and it's certainly worth and delving into and getting further confirmation of the reality of what we are dealing with. If you recall, Tucker Carlson reported on this over a month ago when he said this on a June 6th episode of Tucker on Twitter. Take a listen.
Yesterday, for example, a former Air Force officer who worked for years in military intelligence came forward as a whistleblower to reveal that the U.S. government has physical evidence of crashed non-human-made aircraft, as well as the bodies of the pilots who flew those aircraft. The Pentagon has spent decades studying these otherworldly remains in order to build more technologically advanced weapons systems. Okay, that's what the former intel officer revealed, and it was clear he was telling the truth. In other words, UFOs are actually real, and apparently so is extraterrestrial life. Now we know. In a normal country, this news would qualify as a bombshell, the story of the millennium. But in our country, it doesn't. The whistleblower's account ran on a technology website called The Debrief, which you've probably never heard of. The Washington Post had that story, but decided not to run it. The New York Times, meanwhile, just pretended it never happened. On the front page of the New York Times website this morning, there were 5 stories about Ukraine, as well as 4 stories apiece about Donald Trump, trans people, and climate change, the usual lineup. There was nothing at all about how an alien species is flying hypersonic aircraft over our cities. Not one word.
Tucker Carlson back on June 6th. And now we have people claiming that they have seen people be hurt to cover up secrets about UFOs and whatever information might be tied to them. and the recovery of bodies, which were far from Grush's only shocking claim. He responded with, quote, yes, when asked point blank about whether or not UFOs have been recovered by the government. Grush also took things a step further and said the information about the exact location of the crafts had been given to the Intelligence Community Inspector General in a classified setting. If his claim is true, it would be one of the most shocking admissions in the history of the United States government. So for all of these years, why did the government deny this? Why did the government hide this from us? Was it to prevent mass hysteria, anarchy, chaos, kind of which we have a lot of that going on in today's society now? And why now? Is the lid being blown off of this phenomenon? Is it another distraction? Think about the news cycle that we have right now of major implications. Biden family cover-up, Trump indictments, Ukraine, the Fed, interest rates rising again, and countless other big picture storylines that get all the attention on mainstream media. It's becoming harder to doubt that UFOs are real. This, as we are dealing with the rise of artificial intelligence and the fears of the AI getting out of control. And who's in charge of that? Oh, it's Kamala Harris. So you take your choice here. What concerns you more, UFOs or artificial intelligence? And I'm even willing to admit it now. And I've been a doubter and a skeptic for a long time. But when whistleblowers come forward, I listen. But maybe we're not alone at all. And that's the big take.
The Big Take on Kayal and Company.
All right, Big Take, if you want to jump in, your thoughts and reaction, 855-839-1210 is the phone number. Twitter and Instagram at 1210WPHT. And on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like, hit the subscribe buttons, and be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community. Thoughts and reactions to the UFO testimony and the whistleblower yesterday. That's on the other side as we work our way through the 6 o'clock hour, and we will get to the Hunter Biden busted and rejected plea deal. That's all still on the way. It's Kayal and Company, Thursday morning. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Wells Fargo gives you access to direct deposit funds up to 2 days early.
Plus, if you look at the X and Y axes...
What if everything came 2 days early? Like the weekend.
Well, that was a pleasant surprise.
You can't get everything early, but when it comes to direct deposits, you can with Wells Fargo.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getearly to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. Not all direct deposits are eligible. Early availability is not guaranteed and may vary between deposits from the same payer. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
I am Judith Krupnik, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering the new electric XC40 lease for as low as $487. An absolutely fabulous offer, $487. No sales tax for New Jersey residents. Money's due at signing are license fees and the first month's payment only. This is an incredible offer. Considering the electric XC40, now is the time. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo online or in person for a great selection. Our team looks forward to seeing you very soon.
Hey, it's Rich Zioli. Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control. You develop healthy eating habits that last you the rest of your life. By the end of NJ Diet's 40-day program, you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. You will lose the weight. You will keep off the weight the natural way. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements. That's going to get your body into the fat-burning zone. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help keep the weight off. Locations throughout the East Coast are available with live online video consultations. Don't take shots the rest of your life. Lose weight quickly the natural way with NJ Diet. 855-5NJ-DIET, 855-5NJ-DIET, or schedule your consult at njdiet.com. njdiet.com, lose the weight for good.
The Boston Consulting Group in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania seeks a project leader/principal to manage the design and development of business strategies, including managing case team responsibilities and overseeing business development, client relationships, project planning, and the preparation of outputs. Candidates must have a bachelor's degree in business administration, management science, or a quantitative field related to a BCG client industry, plus 5 years of experience as a management consultant, business analyst, or a quantitative analyst, which must include at least 1 year of management strategy. BCG will alternatively accept a master's master's degree or higher in business administration, management science, or a quantitative field related to a BCG client industry, and 3 years of experience as previously stated. Domestic or international travel is required based on company/client need. Multiple positions are available. To apply, send your resume to phiplp@bcg.com.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
The U.S. women's national soccer team has their World Cup winning streak broken after a 1-1 draw with the Netherlands. A midnight curfew for minors in Wildwood was approved by city commissioners, and it'll take effect this weekend. The DOJ is asking a judge to order Texas Governor Abbott to have the floating barrier in the Rio Grande removed.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
First-time homebuyers have a one-stop trusted partner with American Heritage Credit Union. With our first-time homebuyer program, you can earn up to a $500 lender credit. Our realtors can help you shop for your first home, and qualified borrowers can even receive up to $5,000 in first front door grants. To apply with one simple application, visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/FTH. All loans subject to credit approval. Insured by NCUA. Equal Housing Lender. NMLS 433838.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live in Atlantic City.
Like when we went to the zoo as kids, that's all you got was the zoo. You ate in the car before we go in. What? They got food inside. You think I'm gonna pay? And when you got hungry, you left. Dad, I'm hungry. Okay, let's go.
Sebastian Maniscalco, Borgata Hotel, Casino, and Spa for 10 shows from November 9th through 18th. Get tickets now at theborgata.com.
Gerhard's Appliances summer sale is heating up with your choice Samsung stainless steel refrigerator specials. If you can't take the heat, come into our kitchen and choose between a Samsung side-by-side with beverage center or a Samsung French door refrigerator. They are both only $9.99. This deal is so hot, it won't last. So hurry into the summer sale today, only at Gerhard's Appliances. The heart of the kitchen for over 75 years.
Don't miss Good News in Real Estate with Deanne Katsaros and Mark Cumberland, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Find out all you need to know about home buying and selling. Considering a career in real estate? Visit PhiladelphiaRealEstateClasses.com. Good News in Real Estate, Saturdays 1 p.m. on WPHT.
From Essington to Cochranville, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
And on the free Odyssey app.
It's been 7 hours and 15 days since you took your love away.
Kayal and Company, 6:28 Thursday morning. Hopefully all of you off to a good start on your Thursday. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Nick, Dawn, and Greg, get us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us on YouTube. Very, very interesting day yesterday on Capitol Hill and in the world of the Biden crime family. So essentially what transpired yesterday, and I kind of have two big takeaways when it comes to Hunter Biden and this judge rejecting this plea deal. It felt, at least, and we'll get into the specifics and what it means in just a moment, but it felt like there was two things at play here. One, and I don't really care so much about this, but it is odd that you would have a plea deal agreed to by a federal prosecutor and a defense attorney. And essentially, when you go in front of the judge for a plea deal, everything has been agreed upon. Everything's been signed and dotted. The I's have been dotted. The T's have been crossed. Everything is documented. But in this country, you need to make sure that the defendant understands what he is admitting to and what he is going forward with his plea, so that there's no second doubts or, well, I never meant to do this, and we avoid all that stuff. And then it just gets blown to hell. So it looks like a really bad look for both prosecutor and defense attorney yesterday. But more importantly, it just gave me a sense of belief and a feeling that, you know, in this two-tiered justice system world we live in, where the Bidens get away with murder and Trump gets indicted every time he breaks wind, that maybe, just maybe, it's going to start to balance out here and we're going to see a little bit of momentum. And there's something building here with the whole Biden family situation. Now, again, I think a lot of people will probably only feel like justice is served if Hunter Biden actually ends up in jail someday for everything that he has done. But basically what happened yesterday was that the plea deal contained secret provisions to provide Hunter Biden with essentially legal immunity for all future federal charges that were still currently under investigation. And then the judge in this case looks at all of this, looks at the plea agreed upon by both prosecutor and defense attorney, and is like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. You need to explain this to me. This is not going to fly in my courtroom. How can you have a currently ongoing investigation and yet be granted immunity from that investigation? I mean, why are we going to do an investigation if you're never going to be held accountable for that? So then basically the prosecutor and defense attorney look silly, and the judge, who we gather from everything that has been reported, the night before this was supposed to happen, so 2 nights ago, the judge is already probably in a foul mood after what, according to reports, are that Hunter Biden's lawyers basically tried to call the judge the night before and have redactions made and impersonate the other attorneys. Now, could you imagine if somebody from the Trump legal team tried to do something like that? CNN and MSNBC would spontaneously combust. And Hunter then has to, after they basically rip up the plea deal, Hunter pleads not guilty, and now he's going to trial for his crimes. But again, I don't know that anybody will feel like justice is served if Hunter Biden gets anything less than actual jail time. We've heard this phrase and this term, sweetheart deal. But there was at least a part of me yesterday with this district judge, Mary Ellen Noreika, that I at least said, okay, you know what? She's not letting this fly. And oh, by the way, Hunter Biden, you're not getting off the hook so lightly. So I don't know. I think this was developing, Dawn, as you were on, or maybe it was during the noon to 3 hours. But I know Rich broke it down really well yesterday. But this was really a big story, I think, from a, hey, let's get somewhere with this. But I think also at the end of the day, there's still a bit of theater and charades that I feel like are going on here.
Yeah, it was. So the court appearance was scheduled for 10. Mm-hmm. So it was all going down. And because it's a federal court, as we've talked about before with the federal courts, you don't have cameras in the courtroom. You're not allowed to bring devices and that sort of thing. So they had producers and reporters who were running back and forth to try to tell what was going on. Mm-hmm. And all heck was breaking loose. But it's crazy. The whole thing is you couldn't, if you made this up in a movie, mm-hmm. you would say, oh, that could never happen.
Right.
And yes, now Hunter Biden's legal team, they're being accused of these dirty tricks, facing sanctions. That'll be investigated. As an officer of the court, your legal license can be pulled.
Which we said yesterday that if this was a Trump attorney, they would be disbarred.
Totally.
Yes.
So the whole thing is unbelievable to me. But the fact that you think about Hunter Biden for this family, first of all, we wouldn't know any of this if not for that local little sleepy computer shop.
Yep.
If he hadn't left his laptop.
John Mac Isaac.
Or John
Paul Isaac.
And so that whole mess,
mm-hmm.
and then the baby mama mess.
Yep.
If he had just taken responsibility, been respectful, and he had a child out of wedlock and paid this, and that whole thing went to the Arkansas court, mm-hmm. and that prompted all kinds of disclosures.
Right.
But you think about this hot mess of a situation and what should have been just a perfunctory court proceeding, should have been 25, 30 minutes.
Yep.
And boom, the whole thing blows up.
Mm-hmm.
Hot mess. And now he's pleading not guilty, but what happens now, because everything's in play. Last week is in play. And all this was political stuff. This was the whole reason they were allegedly pulling that dirty trick and trying to trick the judge,
mm-hmm.
that it was the other legal team, was because they were trying to get the Republicans filing that brief and putting something into the public record that they don't even want to know.
No.
It's so crazy.
And by the way, I know it's a federal thing, so it's not just specific to this case, but I don't like the fact that cameras are not permitted in these types of settings. I want to see what's going on. If I have the desire to watch it live on, a C-SPAN, or to get clips of it from social media or the internet, just on a transparency front, and I would love to be able to see that. That's just a personal thing for me. But then how about also, too, did you see the motorcade he got yesterday?
Yes.
Like he was Trump or he was Joe, but this is the president's son being brought in like he's, some sort of major political figure. To our knowledge, the guy basically has no income, and he got like the royal treatment, like he was, under, I'm trying to think of what the term would be if you're people fearing for your life.
Witness protection.
Witness protection. Yeah.
They don't even get that. I don't think.
I had a Joe and Mitch moment there for a moment.
Well, no, yours was like a nanosecond.
Yeah, mine wasn't 20 seconds.
Oh my gosh!
But I mean, I'm just watching it play out yesterday. I'm like, this is such a. I mean, you talk about this couldn't play out in a movie from a legal standpoint, but just everything under the Hunter Biden umbrella, from deadbeat to bullying and manipulating, foreign lobbying, the drugs, the prostitutes, I mean, this guy is a walking disaster on every front. And you think about, we say, you're able to rise up from, poor beginnings and stuff. Like, who had it better than Hunter Biden growing up as a kid? I mean, this guy was born into a family with politics with his dad. His mom's got an EDD in education, or an EDS. And this guy has had every opportunity and everything handed to him throughout his life. And at 53 or 54 years old, he's just a complete lowlife scumbag. I can't stand the guy. And I can say that because he's an adult. I'm not attacking a youngster.
53 years old.
Yeah.
Even the judge arguing that he had benefited from, quote, political interference.
Yes. The guy's had every opportunity in his life to be great. And of course, this is where we are. Although the conditions of his release are fascinating. And I love this. I got this, the court document right here. And there's probably about 7 or 8 other conditional releases that he must adhere to and follow. Number 1, Hunter Biden must submit to supervision by and report for supervision to the Central District of California at this given phone number no later than as directed by his supervising officer. So he's got to be in constant communication with him. He must continue or actively seek employment. He must also abide by the following restrictions on personal association, residence, or travel. Communicate in writing all international travel plans and provide supporting documentation if requested to both the D/DE and the district in which you are residing. He cannot possess a firearm, a destructive device, or other weapon. He is not allowed to use alcohol at all. He is not able to use or unlawfully possess a narcotic drug or other controlled substance defined by a long-winded state statute. He must submit to testing for a prohibited substance if required by pretrial services office or his supervising officer, and he must also participate in a program of inpatient or outpatient substance abuse therapy. This is usually the type of conditions that your average street or drug dealer or user has to adhere to when the police actually were able to lock up people for low-level felony drug possession and intent to distribute type stuff. And this is the president's son, who had a major impact on his father and money and foreign influence peddling. And we're talking about this guy like, this is a local district court here in Philadelphia. That's Hunter Biden right there for you.
Yeah, and I think it does show, and I would even say it's not just a two-tier system, which is referenced in other situations in society. This is a supersized Biden family privilege.
Mm-hmm.
This is privilege. It reminds me of, that skit, that piece with Beavis and Butthead, where they make the parody on white privilege, and they go, dude,
right.
White privilege, we can do whatever. This is Biden privilege.
Yeah.
And this shows you, it gives you a sense, a look into the mindset of this family.
Mm-hmm.
To impersonate, to get a woman to impersonate the top lawyer for the House Ways and Means Committee,
mm-hmm.
and pretend you're that person.
I know.
To call the freaking judges. Oh my gosh!
On a Tuesday night,
who would ever? And the fact that, can you even imagine the judge, because their clerk is saying in the court, "Oh my goodness, we messed up.
Mm-hmm.
And they laid it out so well and so honestly in such a transparent way that everybody can relate to that. You think, oh my goodness, I messed up here. I did blah, blah, blah. And then to go through and actually realize, oh, no, the person is, Jessica.
Yeah.
With, Hunter's team. So now you're having this scramble during a busy evening. And now you have to tell the judge, going, Your Honor, it's a federal judge.
Mm-hmm. Takes a lot of guts to pull that off.
Whoa.
Even to attempt it.
Yes.
Much less going after it after you think about it. And I don't know where the judge was at the time. Maybe the judge is in her chambers pouring a bourbon after a long day at her desk. Maybe she's driving home on her cell phone. Maybe the call came on a landline to her house. She gets this, and then all this stuff plays out. And then you go in the next morning for this agreed-upon order, this plea deal. And judges have a lot of leeway. It's their courtroom, right? They can be as vindictive as they want. I'll tell you what, if I was the judge in that situation, I would come out spitting bullets that morning.
And to your point, I think the judge probably, because I don't know what the timeline was. If her office at first, they have to notify that we're investigating this. Maybe we messed up. And so there's a process by which, they officially go through.
Yep.
Then they have to report back to the judge. Maybe by this point, to your point, she's having her bourbon. What do you have that on ice?
Yeah.
Like I picture like Law and Order. And
exactly right.
Clink, clink, clink with it. And now they have to tell this whole thing. What? So then the judge sounds like she did a good job of asking a lot of follow-up questions because in her mind, she's thinking, this is crazy. I don't know if, when you hear these experts talk, nobody's ever even heard of anything like this happening.
This is a stunner. I mean, and I believe, if I saw this correctly, but I can't confirm this, so I'm sure somebody will let us know. This is a Trump-appointed federal judge.
That's correct. Yeah,
okay.
We said that yesterday.
Okay.
Yep,
I knew I heard that yesterday. Yep. Okay. So that's that. 855-839-1210.
She donated to both parties, too.
Yeah.
So it's not.
I mean, I don't think she's biased really one way or the other. Just because you get appointed by somebody doesn't mean you love that person.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think she acted with a lot of, she was measured. She asked good questions.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, how do you blame the judge who says, you guys said you had a deal? The lawyers are bickering in an open courtroom. So what do you do if you're a judge? She tried to give him 10 minutes at one point because that did happen during my show as this drama went on. It was crazy. It was even CNN, to their credit, everybody was reporting on it. I don't hear it as much being reported this morning, but everybody was reporting it in real time.
Yes. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. We'll come back. You're going to hear from Fox News' Jonathan Turley from a legal standpoint, his takeaway from yesterday and all the theatrics and the drama and what it really means, and then also a statement from James Comer on everything that is transpired under Hunter and Joe Biden. We'll wrap up the first hour on the other side with that commentary next. It's Kayal and Company live here on a Thursday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
So many listeners are enjoying beautiful, easy-to-maintain homes thanks to Rhino Shield, and you can too. Dom Giordano here with my good friend, the local owner of Rhino Shield. John, take it away.
John from Rhino Shield here, reminding you that when it comes to painting your home, there is a better way. We all know that traditional paint just doesn't last, and that's why painters only offer a 1-year guarantee. But Rhino Shield is different. Our elastomeric ceramic house paint is warranted for 25 years, so you'll never paint again. Don't spend your money on regular paint that just doesn't last. Invest instead in a product that will protect your home and look beautiful for years to come. Let Rhino Shield show you how you can be done with frequent painting. Call us today at 484-406-5111 for a free consultation, or find us online at www.myrhinoshield.com.
We wanted to let you know why you should switch to DuckDuckGo by explaining how they work versus Google Search and Chrome. DuckDuckGo is a browser like Google Chrome, but it's a private browser that blocks trackers, so it helps stop creepy ads following you online. It comes with DuckDuckGo Private Search, which is a search engine like Google, but doesn't spy on your searches. And there's no catch. It's free. DuckDuckGo makes money from ads, but not the creepy kind. If you search for a car, you see a car ad. That's it. Join the tens of millions of people taking back control of their online privacy and download DuckDuckGo from the App Store, Play Store, or DuckDuckGo.com today.
Hey, Joe DeCamera here for United Tire. Is your car's AC unit making you sweat? Then it's time to cool off and cash in on savings at United Tire. Get that cold blast back and save $50 on any AC service with the purchase of 4 new tires from select brands at United Tire. Air conditioning problems are no problem at United Tire. So keep cool this summer and stop into your locally owned United Tire or make an appointment today at UnitedTire.com. That's UnitedTire.com. Don't drive alone. Drive United.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Parks Casino. Joe Conklin hosts national comedians every other Thursday. It's Joe Conklin's Comedy Night at Parks. Show dates and tickets. Go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com.
Tune in to Crash Proof Retirement Show. Saturdays at 11 a.m. to hear Phil Cannella and Joanne Small. The Crash Proof Retirement Show. Saturday mornings at 11 on Talk Radio 1210.
I am Judith Krupnik, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering the new electric XC40 lease for as low as $487. An absolutely fabulous offer, $487. No sales tax for New Jersey residents. Monies due at signing are license fees and the first month's payment only. This is an incredible offer. Considering the electric XC40, now is the time. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo online or in person for a great selection. Our team looks forward to seeing you very soon.
Don't let woke win. Follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal Company, 646 as we roll on. It's a Thursday morning here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Heat wave upon us. It's going to be glorious. As somebody who relishes the hot weather, give it to me. I want all of it. I'll ride bikes through it. I'll play golf in it. It doesn't matter to me. It beats 25 degrees and dark at 4:50 p.m. 855-839-1210, the phone number. A lot of RFK stuff coming up in the second hour. What the betting market is telling us about 2024 and that election as RFK continues to rise. It's very interesting on the, quote, Democratic side of things. RFK is rising. On the Republican and GOP side of things, Vivek Ramaswamy is rising. Could you imagine, just think about this for a moment, for 10 seconds. Imagine if it was a general election and it was Vivek against RFK Jr. That would be, I think, fascinating and completely unexpected and wild. And just remember, folks, Trump was at 1% back in 2015, right around this date. So crazier things have certainly happened. All right, so yesterday, obviously, a lot going on with Hunter Biden and this judge, as well as the rejected plea deal. We also got a couple of good tweets that came in. Data Dave says, good morning, all. As long as it's federal, Hunter will be safe because Joe will just pardon them all the way out. Mm-hmm. And then I'm a Survivor 2012 checks in saying, yes, she is a Trump-appointed judge. However, she was recommended by Chris Coons of Delaware. She was widely endorsed by the Dems. So,
but for the first tweet or X, I will point out that it's not Hunter that they're after. So in play now with that whistleblower testimony is the one they're after, which is Joe Biden and whether or not he was complicit in all of this.
Yes. And as you know, we've played all the clips a few days ago on the Big Take that I have I don't want to know what my family's doing. So that when they ask me, I can say, I don't know. I don't get involved in that. And we know that is a bunch of malarkey. James Comer releasing his statement yesterday saying District Judge Norika did the right thing by refusing to rubber stamp Hunter Biden's sweetheart plea deal. But let's be clear, Hunter's sweetheart plea deal belongs in the trash. The DOJ must be held accountable for its Biden family cover-up. He posted his full statement on Twitter yesterday at Rep. James Comer, if you would like to read that. But Jonathan Turley, who I think is about as good as it gets when it comes to taking the complicated legal stuff and relaying it back to all of us non-legal scholars in layman's terms, had an interesting breakdown, and he skewered the DOJ after this deal fell apart. But also, the headline reading, Hunter Biden's judge raised the question that the White House most fears. Was he a foreign agent, and for what purpose? Well, let's take a listen to the great Jonathan Turley.
Is they really did want to cap out the case. The Department of Justice wanted to cap this investigation, but they didn't want to say that it was now over. From the very beginning, the Hunter Biden team said that this is a closeout plea agreement, that there'd be nothing left to investigate. But the Department of Justice is telling Congress, we're not going to give you these witnesses or these documents because there's an ongoing investigation. You can't do both things when a judge is asking you to specifically address whether this is a closeout or a continuing investigation.
One of the specific questions the judge reportedly asked today was about FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. She asked the prosecution if the plea deal would protect Hunter Biden from future FARA-related charges. They did not answer that question. Why do you think they didn't answer that question?
Well, this is a big problem because this was all supposed to be scripted. It was all supposed to be easy. And now it's off script, and it's anything but easy because the judge just raised the one charge that the White House most fears, which is the chance that Hunter was a foreign agent. And if he was a foreign agent, the question is foreign agent for who and for what purpose? The president was that purpose. If you're influence peddling, it's influence over the president. So if you go for FARA, it's going to bring all of this stuff in, including some of these tax counts from 2014 to 2015 that the Department of Justice allowed to run, allowed the statute of limitations to expire.
Right.
All of that can get bootstrapped into a FARA issue. So the whole purpose of this deal is collapsing as we're watching it, and it's taken Washington by utter surprise. I was on the Hill talking with members, and everyone was
Everybody
floored.
was in disbelief
That's
today.
right,
It seemed,
yeah.
you know, from Capitol Hill to the news station.
Everybody was in disbelief because these types of things don't happen. And as Dawn mentioned about 10 minutes ago, this is a proceeding that typically should take 25 or 30 minutes. It's an open and shut case. Everything is basically agreed upon. It's just going through the process, so to speak, and then you move on your way. But I think about this for a second. I want to tie back the big take this morning about UFO whistleblower testimony with IRS whistleblower testimony with the Bidens. And then I also want you to think about everything we don't know about the Jeffrey Epstein client list. Think about where we are in this country where the United States federal government is more willing to let the cat out of the bag on UFOs and crashed spaceships and aliens, but yet the amount of cover-up for the president, the president's son, and everything else that we have going on here, we are now at the point where it's more important to protect a dead pedophile than it is to protect the government or protect the country from UFO information. It's just, it's really staggering, which is why I wanted to tie the two together, because I'm trying to just figure out, like, what's legit here, what's a distraction, what's meant to be a diversion. You know, you got a lot. It's always more than the entry level, right? There's always something at play here. What's the motive?
It's so funny because any other day, that UFO story would be the story that we would spend 4 hours on.
Yes.
It was a fascinating testimony yesterday. But then this Hunter Biden thing breaks yesterday, and all of a sudden it's like squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was sitting there thinking, okay, do I go with the UFO as the big take, or do we do that at the bottom of the hour? And I put Hunter in the big take. And the only reason I really didn't put Hunter in the big take, although this was so unprecedented, was because I feel like so many people just think, yeah, Hunter Biden's never going to be held accountable. Right? Like at the end of the day, there's going to be a court hearing. There's going to be investigations, House oversight. People will speak. People will tweet. But does Hunter Biden ever get punished, really?
No, because it's a game of chess, and they're not really after him. But he's the key that will lead to taking down his dad.
Right. Well, but then the question. Okay, so let's shift the question. Then, does anything ever really happen to Joe Biden? Because there's a lot of things. So here's a couple of things that could play out. Joe Biden will eventually be found guilty of whatever here, and Hunter will be the smoking gun to Joe, and then Joe will be, for lack of a better term, disqualified or whatever. That's one option. Joe gets reelected and lives out his second term. That's the second possibility. Joe doesn't get reelected and this stuff kind of just fades off into the background. Or Joe gets elected and then dies in office. I mean, these are our possibilities right now for the next 4.5, 5 years.
Well, what happened yesterday was shocking, and it was. It's not what anybody expected to happen. At the end of the day, do I think anything is going to come of this? I don't.
No.
But look, I also thought that this was going to be kind of an open and shut deal where he was going to go in and be like, yeah, look, I'm good. I plead guilty. Sure, no problem.
No crack for a monkey.
No problem. And they kind of threw a monkey wrench in this. So who knows? I didn't expect what happened yesterday to happen. So
it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. That's the world we're living in right now. It just seems like there's just so many ongoing investigations, and then you've got people going after people on the right, people going after people on the left. Then we throw in a UFO stink bomb because that captures our attention and our imagination. Like, you might have been of the belief yesterday, man, I'm really interested in this Hunter Biden plea thing as this is playing out. And then all of a sudden you flip over to another channel or you look at a different social media feed and you see that UFO testimony with Nancy Mace and that individual that was in the Air Force for 14 years. And all of a sudden you're distracted. Wow, there's really aliens around. There's spacecraft. Hunter Biden who? I totally forgot about it. It's funny how they work that way, right?
Is Hunter Biden actually a Decepticon?
Right. What are Hunter's pronouns? Has the alien ever had Hunter's crack pipe? It's wild. It's wild, I tell you. Wild. 855-839-1210 is the number. Scary situation yesterday for Mitch McConnell. We'll delve into that as we kick off hour number 2 after Dawn's News. It's Kayal and Company. Stay right there.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with the IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-956-4775. 800-956-4775. 800-956-4775.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
Hi everyone, this is Stephanie Kelly from Emmons Roofing and Siding, and I have some exciting news to share. Emmons has partnered with SunPower, the top-rated home solar company in New Jersey. SunPower has been leading the solar industry for over 37 years and is the only U.S. solar company that's lasted longer than their 25-year warranty. Kill the bill. The energy bill, that is. Imagine no more high energy bills, while all the while helping reduce your carbon footprint at no cost to you. It's a win-win. Yes, we now offer solar, but remember, if you need a new roof, siding, doors, windows, or interior remodeling, don't wait. Right now, Emmons is offering all 1210 listeners 10% off roofing, siding, and Anderson windows. And we are continuing to offer 12 months same-as cash financing. And don't forget that lifetime warranty on your roof. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 856-885-6677, emmonsroofing.com. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, kitchens, baths, and solar. Trust Emmons to be your first and last stop for all your home improvement needs. emmonsroofing.com. NJ.com.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. Your car, running or not, could be picked up as soon as the next day. No title, no problem. Go to carsforkids.org today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Beach or barbecue. Listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPH.
Kayal and Company, hour number 2 is underway. 7 o'clock on this Thursday morning. 855-839-1210 is how you climb in. Nick, Dawn, and Greg. If you're in the boot, make sure you have the Odyssey app. If you want to watch us, and today will be the day to watch us because we will get to some very good video and visual imagery coming up as we continue this morning. YouTube is how you do it. YouTube.com/@1210WPHT. Make sure you like it. You know the number every day. Stalker wants 100 plus. And subscribe. The fact that 36% of you could be watching and not subscribing really sticks in Greg's
It does.
crawl.
It does.
Yeah. Cut sheet, 7:45. Dawn's news coming up in just a moment. We've got some good RFK stuff to get to as we continue here in the 7 o'clock hour. And then also, kids having to wear masks in July of 2023. That story along the way. And summer camps get woke. Yes, just when you thought your son or your daughter were just going to be running around in a soccer field all day and then having a freeze pop and doing some arts and crafts. No. They're actually being taught about CRT, DEI, and gender ideology. That's what you sign up for if you're a parent, right? As you try to get your kid to do something for 8 hours while you work in the summer, because parents, they don't get summers off unless you're a teacher. A lot to get to in this hour, indeed, but let's get some news. It's 7:02, and for that, we go to what a lot of people are saying is a fired-up Dawn this morning on social media.
There's so much going on.
One of the Chris is saying that he loves when Dawn tells it how it is. He says that's the Italian in you that you apparently don't have, but maybe you do. So let's get some news from the great Dawn Stensland.
Yes, we are fired up this Thursday morning. There's so much to talk about. And we thank our sponsor, Piazza Auto Group, this morning, as we're in the mid-70s now, but the heat will be on, and the heat health emergency begins 9 o'clock this morning in Philadelphia. This July 27th will tell you how long this heat wave will last. In Philadelphia, family walking with their baby in a stroller before sunset ran for their lives in South Philadelphia's Graduate Hospital neighborhood as gunfire erupted. This whole thing captured on surveillance camera that you can see online. A teenager shot and killed by these 3 gunmen who ambushed him. Police searching this morning for a gray Dodge Durango used by those gunmen who then sped off. This happened right in the area of 17th and Christian Streets near the YMCA there. Just before 7:30 last night, that 18-year-old young man, boy, 18, and declared dead by 7:44 p.m. as officers rushed him to the hospital. Doctors could not save his life. So they don't know the situation here. Clearly, this teen was the target because even after he was down on the ground, they continued to fire into his body. But the question here is he was walking with another group of individuals, about 5-6 individuals, one of them a youth counselor. So was he trying to escape some situation? Police are not ruling out. We're hearing gang-related.
Yep.
We're following the situation.
It
but
just kills you when you hear, you said mom with a stroller.
Yeah.
You got to, like, you're taking presumably your baby down the street in a stroller. Last thing you think is you have to run with the stroller to avoid stray bullets.
Yeah. You see mommy, their daddy's actually pushing the stroller, and they're just running as fast, because you can't even imagine what's going through all of these individuals' minds. But that one certainly taking center stage as the latest police investigation with a teen involved. And speaking of teens, and I'll weave this in with a really sad news day as we learned, and Greg Stocker had played one of her songs, Sinead O'Connor.
Well, thank you for, and since we kind of, just rolled right past it.
I did, didn't I?
You play,
56, right?
56, and we talked about teenagers. Her 17-year-old son.
Yeah, this was sad.
Had died by self-harm.
Yeah. Some say she
last
never really bounced back from that tragedy.
She's struggled with mental illness
for a long time.
Yeah.
And so her cause of death not being disclosed.
It's definitely a
all-timer.
Yeah. Originally done, recorded, written by Prince.
Prince, yeah. I believe she also converted to Islam at some point in her life as well.
Islam?
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading about it yesterday when it broke.
I mean, one of her most famous moments is when she was banned from Saturday Night Live in 90 or 91.
Yep.
For ripping up a picture of the Pope.
Yep. That was the Dana Carvey era of
Yeah.
SNL. I remember that. I've seen that episode.
Haunting, beautiful voice. Her last social media post about 9 days ago. Lost my 17-year-old son to suicide in 2022. Been living as undead night creature since. He was the love of my life, the lamp of my soul. He was the only person who ever loved me unconditionally. I am lost without him.
Did she have any other hits besides this one?
I mean, she had, I think, 10 different albums. I don't know that anything ever reached this level from a single standpoint, but
yeah,
great voice.
She did.
Haunting. We'll talk about her other hits moving forward. Let's talk about Wildwood because we're talking about teenagers. So teen trouble down the shore. We've already seen all of these curfews and new rules for Ocean City, for Sea Isle City, but now another Jersey Shore community voting in, implementing these new rules and a new curfew for those juveniles, those youths. And it was voted in last night, and it goes into effect this weekend. The curfew for teens and children from 1 a.m., it moves from 1 a.m. to midnight. So it applies to anybody so 17 and under, unless you're 18. So it takes effect with Wildwood having some trouble, as city officials say, these groups of teens rioting, causing mischief into the early morning hours.
Yeah, it's amazing too. And every I guess parent views it differently. But I don't want to sound like I'm 39 going on 79. But and we've had these conversations before. When I was a kid, I mean, first of all, we never would have had the chance to go to the Jersey Shore without parental supervision. Like that never would have been on the table. Even though I wasn't like a foul ball and a goofball, my parents would just never permit that. But then, when I'm 16, 17 when I'm at home on a weekend, I would stay up until 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, right? Summertime for sure, sleepover, whatever. But never had the thought of really being out that late after sundown, much less at the beach. Other than the time that I tried to sneak out and see a chick and my sister caught me. That was the only time.
Your sister.
Remember we gave you that
Aaron.
story before,
You clearly had no fun as a kid because I definitely would have done that.
Oh, yeah, you definitely would have. You would have been vandalizing the cotton candy store on the boardwalk, spray painting the Laffy Taffy shop.
I love it. No, I think it only takes one kid who's an influencer to say, oh, there's no way my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing with teenagers. They're so easily influenced, either for the good or for the bad.
Yeah.
And so even if some kids' parents are allowing them or sneaking out,
Mm-hmm.
if there are others, whose mom might be a vampire and like wakes up if a pin drops.
Yeah.
that one,
Here we
it
go.
only takes one.
Her audience of one.
I know.
Again.
But seriously.
It only takes one rotten apple, right?
Or the other way, if there's a kid who can be that influence who says, you guys, this is a bad idea, and, you know.
But I'm trying to think back to, even if let's say I was 16 or 17 and I was down at the Jersey Shore and I was, violating this curfew. I'm trying to think of what I would be doing, like the most egregious thing. I don't know what, throwing eggs, knocking on somebody's door and running. What are these kids doing that has changed?
No, it's like this isn't mischief night. They're just out, on the boardwalk.
What are they drinking? Monster Energy drinks? What are they doing?
No, what do you?
No, if they were just standing on the beach and chatting and listening to music, we wouldn't be having these
they're
conversations.
obviously doing something.
They get into fights.
Yes.
They riot, or they you have so many hundreds of kids swarming the beach, and then there's a fight. In one, when I was there was a girl who was calling 911 because they were doing these mosh pit things, and she got crushed under there and she couldn't breathe.
Oh, wow.
So she was able to call 911.
Yeah.
I mean, so the police, they have a kid, a girl down there is like 14, 15, and saying, I can't breathe.
Yeah.
Boom.
Back in my day, we would just jump into a quarry.
If you missed it, and I'll just headline this because yesterday I saw MAGA Man. Did you talk about the Hunter Biden thing? Yes, we did. And we talked to, so Hunter Biden pleads not guilty after the plea deal falls apart in a Wilmington, Delaware court. Yes, Nick Kayal covered it all. So if you missed it, just go back. You can reverse with the nice option on the Odyssey app.
That's right.
So I'll start doing that for the big stories. And so this morning we're talking about the heat health emergency issued in Philadelphia. Temperatures expected to soar into the 90s today, well into the 90s, 95, 96, 97 throughout this week. That's why the Philadelphia Health Department has issued this heat health emergency. So it starts in less than 2 hours. They're extending it through Saturday night, 8 p.m., just giving out these warnings, especially for those if you have breathing issues, asthma, all of that. So they're just issuing the warnings for sure. I will mention as a fun little story as we move forward that at the airport yesterday there was kind of an illegal alien, a little raccoon.
Oh,
a little raccoon, and he's on the belt, the luggage, the luggage belt,
baggage claim.
Thank you.
The raccoon.
I couldn't
was
find
on
my
that
script.
board.
The little cute little raccoon. And all these families are, it's on video. It went viral.
Oh, they thought it was adorable?
He was adorable. Nothing bad happened. Nobody was injured.
I think raccoons got a little temper to them, don't they? You got to be careful around those little varmint.
Well, if it's a mama raccoon, they could be dangerous. This was a juvenile.
Okay.
So this was a juvenile raccoon.
A ute raccoon.
A ute raccoon. He got lost apparently in one of the baggage tunnels.
I've been
was
lost
trying
there,
to
too.
get out. So they caught him. The wildlife people caught him and got him out to the John Hines Sanctuary Retreat there.
Oh.
He's all back with his family.
Oh.
So there's that. All right, let's talk about shop the entire Mazda crossover and SUVs lineup. Piazza Mazda of Westchester and Reading 2023 Mazda CX-5, CX-9, CX-30, CX-50 available for immediate delivery. Find yours at piazzamazda.com. Thank you, Piazza Auto Group, for sponsoring our news, the 7 a.m. hour. Moving forward, a new study about how many Americans actually believe in UFOs and where those numbers are after yesterday's testimony on Capitol Hill. This is Kayal and Company News Live.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210 is how you jump in. So yesterday, there was 3 big stories that transpired. We've covered 2 of them so far: Hunter Biden, the rejected plea deal, the UFO whistleblower testimony, and then there was 81-year-old Mitch McConnell. This went viral yesterday across social media and the internet. And essentially, if you missed it, and we'll have the audio and video here for you in just a second, but Mitch McConnell is getting ready to speak during a press conference. He begins to get into what he wanted to talk about, and he essentially just froze for probably close to 20 seconds, where it looked like, and I'm not a doctor, I don't know if anybody has confirmed what it was, I thought the guy had like some sort of a mini stroke or a stroke.
That's what it looked like.
I mean, it was scary. A lot of people then, of course, being lighthearted about it, making jokes, which doesn't really offend me or bother me, but it bothers some people. So McConnell goes on to say that he joked with Biden afterwards when the president called to check and make sure that he was okay after a frightening moment where Mitch froze for more than 20 seconds during his press conference. Do we want to play the audio and video right now?
Sure.
And we'll cue this up. So if you're watching on YouTube, you will see this. And, if you're just listening on the radio or on the app, you'll get a little bit of pretty much close to dead air. But this is Mitch McConnell freezing up for a good 20 seconds, and many people speculating that he may have had a stroke live at the press conference.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're on a path to finishing the NDAA this week. It's been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at him, he goes into another plane or another sphere or something.
He's not even moving his eyes.
Yeah.
He's not moving his head. It's like he is fixated, like he's frozen in time. It's not even a try to move my mouth or flap my lips and talk. Let's go back.
Go ahead, John.
If you didn't know the context of it, you would have thought he was just staring at a reporter listening to a question that he was being asked.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty scary situation for him yesterday.
Well, one of the McConnell aides, I think, said that he felt lightheaded and stepped away for a moment.
And we know he's had some health issues in the last couple of months as well.
Well, if you feel like you're going to faint, don't you kind of get wobbly and get like...
I've fainted before. I know what it feels like.
You don't stand still and kind of look out into space.
Right.
That seems to be and again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just pontificating for the radio. But it seemed to be some sort of mental thing.
That's correct. A brain issue.
Brain issue.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And when you watch it, my takeaway from all of this is think about these people now. We have Joe Biden, we have John Fetterman, we have Dianne Feinstein, we have Mitch McConnell, we have Nancy Pelosi, or we did have Nancy Pelosi. Chuck Schumer is like a spring chicken compared to the Fab Five I just mentioned. The swamp is just sullied with old and inept, incompetent senior citizens. Age to me is a number. If you're 81 and you can do your job, I have no issue with that. If you're 94 and you're sharp as a tack, I have no issue with that. But when you're 81 or 78 or 72 or whatever your age is, and it's very apparent that you have major job limitations in regards to performing the functions of the role, age plus ineptitude, to me, is the issue. And we have too many of these people running this country, controlling our lives. Like, I'm sorry, but Mitch McConnell, dude, it's time to shut it down. Fetterman, unfortunate circumstances, can't do the job. Yeah. Joe's claiming yesterday he's cured cancer and 100 people died from COVID. Dianne Feinstein has been MIA for a long time, and when we see her, she's rolled out in a wheelchair. Can we say term limits people? Like, I rest my case. There's 5 examples. And I mentioned it, like Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer looks like he's Rocky Balboa compared to these 5.
So somebody mentioned those mini strokes, those TIA things. But, like, I thought with those that you're like one side of your face droops or something. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, is that Bell's palsy?
No.
Okay.
No. It's
but
something different.
Remember, Mitch some are saying he may have suffered because of that. Remember, he had a fall. Was that a couple months ago?
No, it was like 12 days ago, I think.
Oh, was it 12? Okay.
He face planted coming off
another
of
one?
a plane or something like that.
Great.
Yeah.
So he's had a couple of falls, and so there's speculation, did he suffer a brain injury, that sort of thing. He's the longest-serving leader in Senate history, so 81 years old, and then afterwards laughed off a question from a reporter when he came back out and said he got sandbagged, referencing when Joe Biden tripped over a sandbag.
Yeah.
At that other event, but apparently he said he called the president.
Yeah.
Or the president called him.
I don't know if Mitch is trying to be humorous when he says he got sandbagged, as kind of like a little playful jab at Joe tripping over the sandbag from in June. But again, my takeaway is just the point where we are at now in our political lineup of key figures, whether it's in the South, or the Senate, or the House, whether it's at the White House. Like, you can't. I mean, in any other walk of life, professionally speaking, these people would have been given like a retirement package already. They basically would have been told by their employer, here, we're going to buy you out. We got a nice package set up for you. We appreciate all your service over these years. We got to get younger in this role, right? And we got to get cheaper. So I just watched Mitch McConnell, and, of course, Twitter's making all sorts of jokes, and now that'll be a meme and a GIF, on Twitter for a long time.
Well, this happens, what you just described happens in every walk of life in business, except Congress.
Right.
And by the way, we vote for these people. And when I say we, I don't mean we. I mean the collective we.
Yes.
Vote for these people. So who's to blame?
Why do we have term limits on a president, a governor, a mayor, but these individuals can be in there for 20, 30, 40 years, be tipped off to stock information, go in there with a net worth of $5, walk out with a net worth of $121 million, and, oh, by the way, never really have to adhere to any of the rules and laws that the average everyday Joe has to deal with. And, oh, by the way, you get to call. I mean, these people are like the legendary football coach that basically sticks around way too long because they had past success, and the owner and the general manager and the fan base don't want to move on from them because they're a legacy. That's what guys like Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden and Dianne Feinstein and Nancy Pelosi are. Fetterman's the youngest of the bunch. He had an unfortunate circumstance. Regardless of his past history or his policies, he would at least be able to functionally perform the job, you would think in theory, despite being a lazy guy with an empty calendar most of his time in Braddock, that he would be able to do the job if he didn't have the stroke.
Yeah, I will say this. Remember that the gift that when he was Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell gave all of us, remember, he blocked Obama's choice and nominee for Supreme Court Justice, Merrick Garland. Mitch did that.
That's good work out of Mitch.
So we got to give him some kudos for that one and a few other things.
Yeah, and I'm not criticizing like his past as far as what he either did good or did not do well, or if he's a rhino, he's a swamp. I'm just looking at it from the sheer standpoint of, I mean, obviously in the last calendar year, this man's health has deteriorated. Mm-hmm. And actually, too, when in the big take 2 days ago when I played those Biden clips from 2019, did you notice the difference in speech delivery from Joe? And I'm not even saying 2019 to now, but the difference in 2019 versus 2020. In 1 year, as Joe was campaigning in the year of the pandemic, he sounded like he had aged 5 to 10 years compared to the year before. Now, today, I mean, forget it. I mean, he can't roll out for a speech at all without, sandbagging himself.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, it's a stressful job. We see, even look at they said Obama, who was a younger look at any president, but especially the younger presidents and how much any of them age.
And the gray hair.
And and
look at Bush.
Yeah, remember that?
Yes.
And so it's a highly stressful job and consuming.
You know who seemingly didn't age, at least from the naked eye, in my opinion?
Trump.
Is Trump.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Trump in 16 versus 20 or 18 versus 22. The hair still seems about the same. He colors it, but he really, there hasn't been, I'm sure there's been a little bit of a cognitive decline slightly, but to the average person that looks at any Trump audio or video clip, there really hasn't been much of a decline in those categories.
Well, part of it, I think, is that he worked in private enterprise. And so you're very stressed out when you have your own company and you're dealing with a lot of things. So maybe you're conditioned a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But you think about his level of stress with all the drama and impeachments and all the Steele dossier and all that craziness. You're right.
And I've said on the air, I've asked this question just, open-ended out loud. Do you think there's ever a moment, a quiet part in Trump's day or his life where he just kind of, takes a sit down on the edge of his bed and it's like, oh, I'm freaking exhausted. Like, it's just amazing that at least publicly, and we've never really heard anything privately, and a lot of people in the Trump administration that have left on good terms or bad terms, they come out and they chirp and they release stuff. You've never really heard many comments that Trump seems truly worried or he's scared or he's just drained by 8 years of the hackery nonstop, which is really remarkable because he doesn't look like he's in physically great shape. He doesn't eat well. We know he doesn't drink or smoke. I'm more stressed out when my mail doesn't arrive on time than this guy is with indictment after indictment, which is really remarkable. But I guess people process it differently.
Yeah, I think he processes it differently. I imagine my feeling is some of his family members are exhausted.
Oh, yes.
But I think that's his personality. He has that tenacious, he's a fighter. And you think about his life and in business, and he loves it. And think about his life as a celebrity and businessman. He was one of those people where he became accustomed to having those business meetings that were tough, business meetings, negotiating, that sort of thing, flying around in a chopper to different properties, traveling the world and meeting with different leaders. But he's used to being in the public eye. And so I think that conditioning in many ways, set him up for dealing with, I don't know anybody else who could deal with the intense pressure. You think about all of these indictments and how much he's been persecuted since day one.
Yep.
It's pretty unbelievable.
855-839-1210, the phone number. Ron DeSantis would consider RFK for a certain role. We'll get to that, and also the rise of Mr. Kennedy up the betting odds chart when it comes to 2024. But right now, let's talk about 2023, and I'm talking about the 2023 Honda Ridgeline, courtesy of the great folks at the Piazza Auto Group. I got my truck just about 3 months ago, right before Memorial Day weekend at Piazza Honda of Springfield, and I absolutely love this vehicle. It's economical. It's a 6-cylinder. It's got plenty of punch, but look, I'm not a laborer. I don't need the F-150 with the V8 and the Hemi and the $92 to fill up. It's got a smooth ride to it. It's like an SUV, but it's built and labeled like a truck. And if you're a truck person like me and you want to save in a variety of categories, now is the time to visit Piazza Honda in Springfield. You can also check out their locations in Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, or Reading to take advantage of 0.9% APR financing, or you can get special finance rates on all of their other vehicles that include the Civic, the Accord, the CRV, the Pilot, and more. The Piazza Auto Group, 17 different brands, from Honda to Nissan to Maserati to Land Rover to Mercedes, on down the list. And the locations, talk about convenience, they have 35 locations in and around the Delaware Valley. It's my go-to for all things automotive. It's why Dawn has been with them for a long time. And if you want to be with them as well and you're in the market for a vehicle, check them out now, new or certified pre-owned. Visit them at piazzaautogroup.com.
Dust off those renovation plans and start designing that new kitchen of your dreams with some help from Colonial Marble and Granite. Colonial Marble and Granite is offering fully installed countertops for just $14.99 or an all-in kitchen for $6,999, including cabinetry, countertops, and sink and faucet package. You heard right, $6,999 all-in kitchen. Stop by a Colonial Marble and Granite area showroom to see their amazing selection of products or make an appointment for a free in-home consultation. Visit colonialmarble.net.
Hi, my name is PJ Vogt. I host the podcast Search Engine, where every week I hunt down the answers to the questions I can't get out of my head. Like, why are drug dealers poisoning their customers with fentanyl? Or, is my local sushi restaurant a part of an international scam? Or, how sad are the monkeys at the zoo? If you, like me, find this world bewildering, but also sometimes enjoy being bewildered by it, check out the show on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you like.
Hey, it's Rhea. Keep the summer vibes going with Lexus of Cherry Hill during the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Over 300 new and certified pre-owns to choose from. Explore the redesigned NX, RX, and Lexus's first all-electric vehicle, the RZ. Being veteran-owned, family-operated, and a 5-time J.D. Power dealer of excellence, Lexus of Cherry Hill guarantees luxury customer service. Talk to Tony and his team to set yourself up with some of the best deals of the year. Visit LexusofCherryHill.com.
People who suffer from long-term chronic joint pain spend so much of their time acting, putting up a carefree front.
It's exhausting.
I was really tired of trying to act like I wasn't in pain because I was in pain all the time.
Rick Rawlings didn't want everyone else to know that he was coping with agonizing shoulder pain 24/7.
Yes, I had to put on a face to cover up my pain.
But then Rick found QC Kinetics, offering new lasting treatments for joint pain using natural biologics. Treatments designed to restore and repair joint tissue with no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. The results were amazing.
I am very glad. It changed my life doing the QC Kinetics. Today, my shoulders feel wonderful. The cranky Rick is gone. He's not grouchy anymore.
No more acting. Feel like yourself again with a call to QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. That's 215-999-3000. 215-999-3000.
A new study finds a markedly higher risk of death among older people with dementia after they receive an opioid prescription. In the first 2 weeks of new opioid use, the risk of death increased 11-fold compared to those not receiving the medications. The study was reported at the Alzheimer's Association International Conference. Dr. Nicole Purcell is Senior Director of Clinical Practice at the Alzheimer's Association.
As a basic rule, pain should never go untreated, and heightened attention is needed when working with people who cannot clearly articulate their pain. These new findings emphasize the need for thoughtful discussions between doctors, families, and patients about the risks and benefits of strong pain medication and consideration of alternative approaches.
Among 75,000 older people diagnosed with dementia over 10 years, a third of those getting an opioid prescription died within 6 months of receiving it. More research is needed to understand why opioids are related to excess deaths in this vulnerable group. Sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately, helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-956-4775. 800-956-4775. 800-956-4775.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Don't miss Dr. Marianne Ritchie, your radio doctor, Saturday afternoons at 5. Tune in for accurate information so you can make the right medical decisions. Your radio doctor, Dr. Marianne Ritchie, Saturday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Yeah, baby, 7:32. It's Kayal and Company. What is on the cut sheet? We know, and you'll know in about 13 minutes. It's the way it works. 7:45 this morning. Also, RFK Jr., and a very interesting story that we'll get to late in the 8 o'clock hour, maybe early 9 o'clock hour, on school choice and what they're doing in Arizona when it comes to vouchers and the dollar amount that they will grant you. Very interesting. Little inside radio here for you for a moment. Two things that have been really annoying me this week. I don't know if anybody in this building works anymore because nobody's ever here except for Sales Day Tuesday. But we have two very annoying things that are going on in the two places that I frequent outside of this studio. I occasionally like to use the men's room, and I like to use the men's room in peace. And the music level in the bathroom is extremely loud. I mean, I'm in there, trying to relieve myself of coffee, and I've got, whatever they're playing on the B Morning Show, and it's at like volume level 22. I mean, it's just unhinging. The bathroom should be a nice place of comfort and rest and the occasional nodding of the head as you walk by somebody before you wash your hands. Can't do that. And also in the kitchen where, I go to refill the coffee, there's like this annoying beep that's been going on all week long.
What is that?
It's like the sound I hear when I leave my refrigerator accidentally open.
Yeah.
And it beeps to remind you, like, hey, idiot, close it. Your lettuce is going to spoil. So I don't know. Nobody works here anymore. Everything's just coming undone. It's like Washington all of a sudden. It's remarkable. Anyway.
And you could see somebody went into the ceiling. I don't know who did it in the kitchen.
They started a repair and they just stopped.
Or maybe it was just a random person who couldn't stand it either and was digging up in there and
it's like, hey,
can we drop ceiling?
Can we disconnect the smoke detector? It's beeping and the batteries are dying. Just disconnect the damn thing, Johnny.
Cut the red wire.
Cut the cord. Exactly right. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. So we give you a lot of polling data, and occasionally we give you the way the betting market looks at elections. That's something that we did as Dawn has a betting deal with Bet Parks. Greg has one with FanDuel. I'm a gambling degenerate, so I always like to look at the odds in addition to poll numbers. And we did a lot of that during the midterms in the fall of 2022, and we haven't done that in a long time in 2023. So I thought this was pretty interesting because we've been talking about who's making moves, who's rising, who's falling. DeSantis, if he was a stock, it would be arrowed down. Vivek Ramaswamy, if he was a stock, he would be ascending. Chris Christie's been pretty flat. Trump is going up. Joe's kind of flat to down. But RFK Jr., who is, as we've talked a lot about on this show, and I know people, please don't play another clip. I understand he sounds awful. I got that. But he's a compelling figure. He's a wild card. He's an X factor. And he resonates with a little bit of people on the left under some categories, climate, all that stuff. Then he resonates with people that are just free speech absolutists that don't want to be censored. And then he resonates with people on the right when it comes to vaccines and COVID. But now he is actually sitting at the third most likely odds to become president of the United States, which I think is really fascinating from where he was just a couple of months ago. So Joe Biden remains the small favorite. He is, in the betting world, plus 200. He's 2-1 on your money. If you put $1 down on Joe and he wins, you get $2 back. Trump is close. He is at plus 270. And those odds, you might, if you're saying, well, what's the likelihood? Well, if you're plus 200, Biden and Trump have around a 34% and 26% chance, respectively, of winning. So you can get 2-1 on your money for Joe Biden, and he's got about a 34% likelihood of becoming president again. Donald Trump is plus 270, which means you put $1 down, you'd get $2.70 back if he wins. He's got a 26% chance. Those are still your front runners, and I think at the end of the day, those will be your two. That'll be the candidates that you're going to be voting for in the general election. But now, RFK is shooting up the board. Just a month and a half ago, in early June, he was plus 1,900, meaning he was a 19-1 long shot. Throw $100 down, you get 1,900 back. He now has moved up from 1,900 to plus 1,200. He's now 12-1. If he was a horse getting ready for the Kentucky Derby, you'd be like, wow, somebody knows something, because his odds have shrunk. So here he is now making a charge. He's been all over media. You've seen him on Fox. You've seen him on CNN. It's interesting. You don't get as much of a guy like DeSantis or Trump on the left-wing media. Yet you do get RFK on both because I think he just doesn't really fit into one specific party or one specific box. And that's what I think drives the left nuts is, yes, he's a Democrat. Yes, the long family history of Democrats, certain things that he absolutely is more left on. And then he hits you with the curveball on censorship. He hits you with the curveball on vaccine efficacy and questions and being skeptical. And that's what they hate, because on the left, they want you to fall in line, hook, line, and sinker. If there's 10 boxes, you better be in the Democratic side of things in all 10 boxes. But, Greg, you have said you think we might have very well two different people up for election in 2024. Is RFK one of those two?
No.
Okay, so you say it's not him.
No.
So it's not Biden and Trump, but it's not RFK either.
Exactly.
Okay. And I know you said you were not going to give out, you weren't sure yet who the two would be.
No, I don't know how to get from A to B.
Okay.
All I know is B right now.
Okay. Dawn, your thoughts?
Well, I think what Greg is talking about, it's another chess game. I think Democrats would love Gavin Newsom.
Yes.
As the nominee.
Yes.
But they have the Kamala issue.
Right.
And I think that's the issue.
And then if it is Gavin, who is his running mate? Because it won't be RFK. Like, RFK is not going to be allowed anywhere near.
No.
He might as well just flip parties, because he's like they say in poker, when you're drawing dead, there's no card that can come out of the deck that give you the winning hand.
He's a Kennedy. He would never flip.
I know that, but he's also got no chance of ever doing anything. He's nothing more than a fly in the ointment, basically, is what he is. He's a pain in the butt. He's a factor. He's an issue, but it's like he's almost rejected by his own family, literally and figuratively, right? Like, he doesn't fall in line with the Kennedys, and he doesn't really line up symmetrically with Democrats on all the issues.
But I think he represents the old school party of Democrats. And that's where Joe Manchin and his independent party does come into play.
Interesting. All right. I know yesterday he did say that he believes the Democrats can once again be the working class party. I disagree with that. To me, the Republicans right now, more than ever, really represent the middle class and the working class party. There's such an arrogance and an elitist level to the left right now where I would push back on RFK Jr. on that. But also, in regards to RFK Jr., it's interesting because guys like Trump don't really go after RFK Jr., don't have anything really negative to say. The same thing with a guy like DeSantis. But then you look at a guy like Christie. He's had negative things to say about RFK Jr. Ramaswamy really doesn't go after many people at all. He's kind of just focused on the messaging and the issues. But Ron DeSantis says that he could pick RFK Jr. if he was to become the president, not as his vice president, but to lead the FDA or the CDC, which I think would be unbelievable theater from the standpoint of, if you get a guy, and now you talk about COVID, you talk about the lockdowns and the mandates in Florida with Ron DeSantis and the way he handled it, or the way, Trump handled it. I think both exponentially handled it better than Democrats. Then all of a sudden you throw in the RFK Jr. factor about everything that he has said or he has been labeled to believe when it comes to vaccines. Ron DeSantis with RFK Jr. heading up the CDC, I think would make heads explode at CNN, MSNBC, social media, and all of the left-wing publications. That would be, I think, a major blow. Now, again, this is all hypothetical because I think DeSantis is pretty close to being out of the race. I know that triggers the people that listen to this show, and they're, well, Nick, you flipped. How you used to be a Ron fanboy. Now you say he's got no chance. Like, I just read the tea leaves and the writing on the wall. I'm able to figure out whose stock is ascending and whose is declining. And when you're gutting over 33% of your staff, you have issues. But the RFK Jr. factor on the CDC front, I think, would be absolutely compelling. And it would be a guy that almost defies everything the CDC is about and stands for. Do we have this audio? Or
we
is
do.
This, okay. So let's go to this. This is Ron DeSantis, and we'll give you a couple of other quotes as well on the backside of the clip, talking about Mr. Kennedy and leading up one of the most well-known health administrations.
you need somebody that's going to reflect the values of the broad coalition. Yes, the medical stuff, I'm very good on that. So that does appeal to me, but there's a whole host of other things that he'd probably be out of step with. And so on that regard, it's like, okay, if you're president, sick him on the FDA if he'd be willing to serve, or sick him on CDC. But in terms of being Veep, if there's 70% of the issues that he may be averse to our base on, that just creates an issue.
I would be very interesting, especially at that end part there. He says in terms of being Veep, there's about 70% of the issues that he may be adverse to our base on, and that just creates an issue, which obviously it does. It would be a major, major misstep by DeSantis if somehow he won the Republican nomination to have RFK Jr. as his running mate. But in the element and in the staying in the lane of the CDC or the FDA, I think if he's really kept in that little box, in that little room, so to speak, I think people on the right and I think conservatives would absolutely love to have him on board. Because if you value free speech and you're anti-mandate and you do have vaccine hesitancy, RFK Jr. is your guy. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You can't find a better guy for this from the standpoint of aligning with your beliefs. Is that a sound? Because let's face it, DeSantis right now is in a tactical nightmare. His messaging isn't working. He's getting rid of staff. His polling is down. And now you throw in an RFK Jr. And I think, again, if you keep it where it needs to be with this guy, it's a success for the DeSantis campaign moving forward long term. But in any other role, that's where I think people come out and say, nope, thank you, Ron. No, thank you. Don't want any part of it. Your thoughts on that?
The biggest question is what are his views on the economy?
Yes.
And we had the Fed raising rates by 0.25% yesterday. Jerome Powell speaking out and talking about what's going on with our economy. We still haven't done a good enough job of cooling inflation, and there are fears that they're going to still have to raise rates again. We haven't seen this in 22 years. And so ultimately it's all about the economy.
Yep.
So if it's Trump against RFK or Trump against, I think even, Mr. Nice Hair in California, Trump wins because I think the unions don't trust the California slick talker, ex of Kimberly Guilfoyle. I just think on all of those, if it's a rock, paper, scissors kind of a game, who do you trust with the world in turmoil right now, with the energy issue, with the economy? So
that's where I really think RFK's weak at, because all we ever get from RFK in any setting is family history, vaccines, and censorship. That's not enough to win anything.
Yeah, and so he was great at that hearing, and Jim Jordan loved it. He was great talking about censorship and First Amendment rights. Fantastic. Go on a speaker tour, and that's wonderful, good. But he's one of the top environmental lawyers in the nation, so he believes in environmental issues. Why isn't he talking about what's going on with the wind turbines right off the Jersey Shore? You know why? Because it's jobs, and that's a real conflict for him to talk about.
Yep.
Because the more we hear about that, it could be a real environmental disaster. So why isn't he talking about that? And why isn't he talking about the economy?
Yeah. See, to me, RFK Jr. is a lot like a guy who is auditioning for a job in, let's say, sports talk radio, and he can talk football all day, but he can't talk basketball, baseball, or hockey. So it's like, okay, I know what your wheelhouse is, and you're good in your certain lane, but I need you to be more versed in other categories as well. And maybe he is. Maybe he does have thought, but he either never is the guy that kind of go, like, I think it would go a long way if he did his own type of town hall and talked about these big kitchen table issues that nobody ever asks him about. Because when you get that guy in the interview setting, and I'm not trying to be critical of the interviewer, but the interviewer always wants to talk about the assassination. They always want to talk about his stance on COVID. They always want to talk about how YouTube pulls down his content. And those things are absolutely a part of the equation, but that's like 15, 20% of the gig. And that's not enough. So that's kind of where we are with RFK Jr. and also DeSantis with his suggestion. 7:47. Let's get to a Thursday edition of Greg Stocker's What's on the Cut Sheet.
What's on the Cut Sheet?
What's on the cut sheet on this Thursday is brought to you by our good friends at Cherry Hill Volvo. Right now, they're offering rebates and bonuses of up to $14,833 to lease a new Recharge XC40 and C40. Now's the time to visit Cherry Hill Volvo. Check them out over at 70 Cherry Hill. Cherry Hill Volvo, where relationships matter. Going back to the Hunter Biden thing here, Nick and Dawn, we have, it's a big deal when even the mainstream media says, "Hey, look, this is there's a lot of stuff here." Let's go to NBC's Chuck Todd first. He did a special edition of Meet the Press now because can't wait for Sunday for Meet the Press. He opened his show yesterday by saying this. I'm going to go with cut 4 here, Daniel.
Meanwhile, it's worth pointing out that the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in this case, David Weiss, is facing elevated scrutiny of his own due to the handling of this investigation after House Republicans heard public testimony from a pair of IRS whistleblowers alleging political interference in this investigation. That testimony came after the original plea deal was announced, which today dramatically fell apart. And it is worth noting that the House Ways and Means Committee, led by Jason Smith, the Republican of Missouri, did give additional information to the judge in Delaware before today's proceeding.
I would say if I was running one of these networks, whether it's MSNBC or CBS News or CNN, guys, girls, we need to be all over this Hunter Biden. If we have any shred of journalistic integrity left in our building, in our complex, within our company walls, about reporting facts, we need to, folks.
Sure.
So.
CNN's Ellie Honig says it's very, very rare for a plea deal like this to fall apart in court. This is cut 5.
How rare is it that as a prosecutor that you are walking in for this type of hearing and you are walking out perhaps with the deal falling apart?
It's very, very rare. Sometimes you do have a miscommunication about what the scope of, as we'll call it, the coverage is. How much is this person covered moving forwards? But that is, in some sense, the most important issue in a case. Look at this case. If Hunter Biden pleads to 1 or 2 or 3 tax misdemeanors, it's 2 in this case, that's fine, but the agreement here is no prison time. The bigger concern is he covered for anything else? Is he going to get a pass from DOJ for anything else? And you would absolutely have that hammered out from both sides. To have it fall apart in this fashion is really surprising and doesn't reflect well on either of the two parties.
I wonder if Hunter is sending messages on the WhatsApp messenger to his defense attorney, making like threats right now. Because everybody looks bad in this situation, and it's basically the judge like blowing the whole thing to hell, like and saying, you know what, we have no deal here. No, back to the drawing board, figure this out, because this isn't going to fly in my courtroom. So Hunter Biden, we heard that term sweetheart deal. Yeah, he's probably going in there yesterday, with his Biden family privilege. I'm getting off with a slap on the wrist. I can put the pipe down for 90 days, no problem. And then next thing you know, no deal. Hey, Hunter, how do you plea? No, not guilty. Not guilty. I think Hunter was probably hitting the bottle or the pipe last night, because I would be a little worried if I was the big guy's son.
Would you be?
I would.
Nah, I don't know.
I mean, when you think
does anything ever happen to these people?
No,
Honest to God.
no.
Does anything ever happen? Like, this is so. I'm just so.
And that's probably the arrogance of him that he
Nothing ever happens to these people.
You're
they can do
right.
whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. Politicians, kids, politicians, whatever. They can do whatever they want. Nothing ever happens to them.
I can't imagine he walked out of there feeling good yesterday. Put it that way.
No, but he's probably mad. He's mad at the attorneys.
Oh, yes.
For pulling the stunt. And
yeah, I
so
mean, what's up?
And you're paying these people.
But it was probably his idea, but he'll throw them under the bus, and one of them at least could lose their their license to practice law.
Yep.
And let's be clear too. They could rearrange some sort of plea deal that the judge accepts, or they could, renegotiate something. So it's not like this is a done thing. But
they have until September 1st.
It does. This is not a good start for this whole.
He's basically got a month.
Yeah. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas was on the receiving end of another barrage from House Republicans yesterday as he faced the House Judiciary Committee and was quizzed about his administration's efforts to tackle the border crisis. Sheila Jackson Lee asks if we have operational control at the southern border. Cut 6 here.
So would you say, having been asked this over and over again, that the United States, the President of the United States, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and all of the hardworking men and women at the border have operational control or have a form of presence, that they are aware of what's going on in the border and that they're working to secure the border every single day?
As we define that term, Congresswoman, we do.
As we define that term, we do.
Right, and I'll never utter the term crisis because we do not have a crisis and we have it under control. You guys know this. This guy really gets under my skin. This guy bothers me more than almost anybody in this administration, because if you had everything under control, Greg Abbott wouldn't have to throw a bunch of red buoy barrier raft type things in the water to prevent people from coming over here at their very own will and discretion. You have nothing under control. You might have a better grasp of it now than you did a few months ago. But to say you have it under control is a flat-out lie to the American public. I feel bad for the people that live in a border state that have to deal with this.
Democratic Representative Ted Lieu also questioned Mayorkas' weird line of questioning about history, and even Mayorkas was frustrated with his dopey line of questioning. This is cut 7 here.
Secretary Mayorkas, who was the Republican president in 1969?
Congressman, I have to think back sequentially.
Can I phone a friend?
In reverse chronology, but I'm sure you know the answer
He resigned.
immediately.
I'll give you a hint. This Republican president resigned.
Congressman, I know the president, President Nixon.
Thank you. After Nixon resigned in 1974, his vice president became president. But the issues at the border continued, and in 1976, the president stated, quote, 80 to 90% of the heroin that comes in the United States today comes across from our southern border, end quote. Secretary Mayorkas, who was the Republican president in 1976? The vice president to Nixon.
I'm sorry?
He was the vice president to Richard Nixon.
Gerald Ford, are you
yes,
speaking
that's
of?
correct.
Yeah, Congressman, I'd prefer not to answer questions of history right now. My focus is on the work
I'm going to help you with
Homeland Security.
I'm going to help you with this.
Oh, my God.
I have no issue. I have no answers for the border, and I don't have the answers to your trivia questions.
But it's such what is the point of the questioning from?
I hope this is
him?
a build up to.
I'm on Mayorkas' side about this. Lou's an idiot.
Yeah, they're asking him all these questions. Well, I mean, here's the thing with Mayorkas. It's like he's much like KJP and these other clowns. They all take all the bullets for Biden and the administration and the people that are actually calling the shots behind the scenes. But it's just from a drug standpoint. That's the other thing. It's not just illegal people coming here. It's not just coming here not paying taxes, getting hotels that you're getting put up for $400 a night and then trashing them. It's also the drugs. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with the production of deadly fentanyl from China that comes through the southern border. So, the southern border is not just a humanitarian crisis with individuals coming across. It's substances that come across. And we have a major epidemic in this country right now with opioids and fentanyl. And China's a big player in that.
Congressman Darrell Issa was asking Mayorkas a question about the whereabouts of these people crossing the border who are on terrorist watch lists. And his time expired, so he didn't answer. Jim Jordan asked him to finish the question, and Representative Jayapal came in and saved the day. This is cut 10.
By definition, Mr. Secretary, if you're on the terrorist watch list, you represent a threat. So 140 people on the terrorist watch list so far this year. For the record, would you please give us the status of each of those individuals so we know what you did with people who were on a terrorist watch list, who were apprehended, many got away, but were apprehended, where they are today so that Congress can know?
Congressman, I would be pleased to provide you with that information with respect to the individuals encountered at the southwest border.
Thank you. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back, but could the Secretary answer that question? What is the status of those 140?
Mr. Chairman, I
Mr. Chairman, what is the
point of order?
What authority or point of order?
Gentlelady, state a point of order.
Mr. Chairman, under what authority are you speaking right now? Whose time? Whose time is it? Are you being recognized for 5 minutes?
I was just asking what I thought would be a question
Mr.
every
Chairman,
single member
not,
of Congress would want to know. I'll do it on my time or someone else's time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
He had asked the question, and there wasn't an answer to the status of the 140
Mr. Chairman, that he did. The witness provided an answer, and if you want to use your 5 minutes,
I'll do it on my time. That's fine.
Thank
We
you.
recognize the gentlelady from California.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I love Jim Jordan. He's a bulldog. Absolutely love that guy. You know, most times you get this time limit where you're given your opportunity to speak, and they go past the limit, and then there starts to be some hooting and hollering. Yeah, this guy, he didn't want to take advantage of all his allotted time because he had nothing to say. Embarrassing.
Representative Mike Johnson grilled Mayorkas on censorship. Who determines what's false? This is cut 9.
Define what misinformation is.
Congressman, misinformation is false information that is disseminated to...
Excellent. Who determines what is false?
Congressman, our focus...
No, who determines what is false in your agency? If you're going to pull something off the internet and collude with a social media platform to make sure Americans don't see it, who determines what's false?
Congressman, we don't do that.
That's not true. That is not true. That is not what the court has found. This is not a Republican talking point. This is what the documents show. We've had people testify under oath that say, and you just defined the term, you're telling me that you don't know who determines what is false?
Congressman, what we do at CISA, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, is identify the tactics that adverse nation states use to weaponize disinformation.
Okay, what is disinformation? What is disinformation?
Disinformation is inaccurate information.
Who determines what's inaccurate? Who determines what's false? Do you understand the problem here? The reason the framers of our Constitution did not create an exception for quote-unquote false information from the First Amendment is because they didn't trust the government to determine what it is. And you have whole committees of people in your agency trying to determine what they define as false or misinformation.
That is not true.
Well, then what is true? Please enlighten us.
What we do is we disclose the tactics that adverse nation states are utilizing to weaponize information.
No, sir. The court found specifically, it's a finding of fact that is not disputed by the government defendants, the Biden administration, your agency, the FBI, or DHS, not in the litigation. They determined you and all of your cohorts made no distinction between domestic speech and foreign speech. So don't stand there and tell me under oath that you only focused on adversaries around the world.
As usual, the left is the biggest violator of what they rail against. The left loves to use terminology like misinformation and disinformation, yet they are the kings of disseminating that type of stuff. And I do find it interesting, too, that, misinformation and disinformation is not just something that runs rampant in one category of politics, like, COVID and, what's real and what's not, or elections. I mean, misinformation and disinformation is running rampant in every category, including the southern border. Because initially I was thinking, well, what does this have to do with Mayorkas and the border? But, you can't run from what a court has determined and found to be factually proven. That no longer qualifies anymore as what you would like to call misinformation.
By the way, we're streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. If you're watching right now, we have 80 likes. I want to get that up to 100 likes. So if you're watching right now, please hit the like button, and please hit the subscribe button too. We're even without pandering, we're moving on up. We have like 4,050-ish.
Okay.
So please hit the subscribe button. youtube.com/@1210WPHT. It's free. Let me just say that again. It's free. Speaking of YouTube, Adam Schiff, and speaking of censorship, Adam Schiff is triggered because YouTube is allowing slightly more free speech on its platform. And he's pissed off because Elon Musk is firing censors. Yes, this happened during the Homeland Security hearings yesterday, talking about free speech. This is cut 8.
I'm particularly concerned about YouTube's recent decision. I think the Republican badgering has had an effect, and this is part of the effect. YouTube recently decided to, quote, stop removing content that advances false claims that widespread fraud, errors, or glitches occurred in the 2020 in other past U.S. presidential elections. So YouTube has now decided it's not going to remove content it knows to be false. Other social media platforms like Twitter have decided to fire those that would be in the business of security or looking for misinformation, disinformation campaigns from whatever sources.
The only person probably more upset over YouTube's slightly altered business strategy of allowing stuff out there that counters the left is probably Brian Stelter, as he's unemployed, sitting around asking and answering questions from Chris Licht on how to save the network. Here's the thing with this. If there's one guy that is the king of mis or disinformation, it's Adam Schiff. And he's so bothered by the fact that the free speech or the conservative Republican summer of pushback against censorship is actually gaining a little bit of traction that he has to cry about it. Cry me a river, Schiffy.
Out of all the social medias, what do you think is the one that allows the most free speech?
Twitter, hands down.
You think so?
I mean, they still ban people. I mean, like Bruno's banned for I don't know what the hell
I was just going to say Bruno's banned,
which is ridiculous. But you'll still see an occasional person get banned for like 12 hours or 24 hours. But for the most part, I mean, let's think about it. It's not Facebook. It's not Instagram. It's not YouTube.
TikTok?
Well, I the only thing I have ever consumed from TikTok is on the cut sheet with mental health breakdowns. I don't know what other content really do people share political views on TikTok? I mean, other than like transgender type stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do.
Because I don't have it. I've never been on it. I've got no use for it.
Navy Prepper on YouTube says Rumble. I'm talking about like mainstream stuff. Like out of all the big, the big three or big four, Facebook, Instagram.
The big ones, I would say Twitter.
Twitter.
I would say Twitter is to Fox News as Rumble is to Truth.
Gotcha.
So, but if Rumble and Truth aren't mainstream, But yeah, I've never heard of a story of anybody being censored on Truth.
Vivek Ramaswamy. Did you guys see this report in Politico yesterday? So apparently when he was at Harvard, he used to rap.
Is that right?
He's good.
The Ramaswamy rapper.
Is he good?
I think he's good.
Okay.
Okay, I didn't want to listen to this.
He's doing Eminem.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's good.
Okay.
His stage name was Davake. Davake.
Yeah, I would have went with
Ramaswamy,
the rapper.
Remember the Eminem song "Lose Yourself"?
Of course.
So here's a little. It's like a 30-second clip of him doing "Lose Yourself."
Okay.
And we can determine whether it's good or not. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the video. It's a little grainy, but like he's up on a stage and there's people cheering for him.
And I'm assuming this is like from 20 years ago or something?
It was 2003.
Okay.
Yeah, 2004, 20 years ago, yeah.
Okay.
Here's Davake at Harvard doing Eminem's "Lose Yourself." Cut one.
If you had one shot, one opportunity, you better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
All right, for the first time in the history of my consumption of Vivek content, that's the first time the great speaker has sounded like a fool. That was terrible.
If you watch it, I actually thought, have you tried to rap? Have you tried
No,
to?
because
Yes,
I know I can't.
It's hard.
I have, and I realized I sucked, so I've never done it again.
I thought it was pretty good. I have to say. And he kind of sounds like Eminem.
You think
He
so?
sounds nothing like Eminem.
I don't see that at all. Can we get?
I actually thought.
Could we do a compare and contrast of the real Eminem with that chorus and compare it to Vivek?
I don't want to do that. I can play it again because he's not even rapping to the beat.
No, his cadence is off. Yeah, he's just no.
All right, one more time, and we'll do. I just love Dawn's positivity about this. Like, it's good. It's like a mother. Like, you did good, son. That was a good rap you did. It's Navy Prepper. You're 100% great. It was nauseating.
It was terrible.
Let's play this again, Daniel. cut one.
Look, if you had one shot,
You had one Coke shot.
you better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music the moment you own it. You better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. This opportunity comes once in a lifetime.
All right, Mr. DeSantis, your thoughts on Vivek's performance?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I thought it was terrible. We should have Ron and Vivek battle off in like a battle of the bands or something.
The YouTube chat is very split. Eileen agrees with you, Dawn. Of course, the women do. That she thought it was good.
I mean, this is just like college kids.
Yeah,
he gets up on a stage, impromptu. You know, it's not. He doesn't have the words. It's not karaoke. He's just he's riffing this, and so that's why I think there is a delay because he's going off of.
Wait.
It's not a professional thing.
He's not riffing anything. He's singing a song. Yeah. Like that's not riffing.
He's singing a song, but he's not reading the words off the karaoke thing.
Okay. On YouTube right now, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Daniel put up a poll question: is Devake good? let me just cast my vote here.
This was not a This is like, hey, we're having some beers and stuff, and they're like, hey,
Yeah, we get the setting.
Yeah.
It still doesn't change the fact that it sucked.
It did not suck. For an amateur getting up, it was like I thought it was.
I'm not saying I would have done any better. Can we bring Valdez in here? He says that this is, I guess, something that he would do when he was in high school, and Dorenzo says it's just a cover.
All right, Valdez first.
Valdez, what do you got?
When we had like mini-thon and stuff like that, I'd get on stage and just start embarrassing myself.
Yeah, what did you do? Did you sing a certain song?
I mean, I would do that. I would MC it. I would just start doing random dances. I was doing stupid stuff in high school.
Did you have a hacky sack in high school?
No, I wasn't one of those people.
Okay, I can see you being one of those hacky sack guys. Dorenzo, what do you got on this? I can't imagine you being remotely good at this.
I'm not. Yeah, I've also tried to rap, not good at it. But I was saying I know friends who wrote their own raps, and at least he didn't write something covering. It's usually when kids write their own raps, it doesn't end well.
No, it does not. I think Vivek needs to just stay in his lane. I really liked him. Now, for all the DeSantis haters, I want you to know I do have Ron back in the 2 slot. He's jumped back ahead in the latest Kayal polling.
Now, I will say the best one so far that we've played was, remember we played that Brett Baer rapping with Sugar Hill Gang?
Oh, yeah.
At the Christmas party. And he was very good.
Brett Baer rapping?
Yeah.
6 o'clock Fox News Brett Baer. The guy who shows no personality on television at all.
I like him.
I like him too. Straightforward news. But he's as dry as the paint on that wall.
All right.
No, he's not.
I'm going to pull up Brett Baer rapping here.
Oh my God! I mean,
Don't stop or rock it to the bang bang boogie. Up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie beat. Come on, Scooby-Doo. That's right, America, we love you. We're rock and roll to the summer sun. We rock to 101 years old. I don't mean to brag, I don't mean to boast. I'm breakfast toast. Rock it out, baby mama to the boogie to the bang bang, the boogie to the beat. Show you need. Come on, everybody, dance here. On the road, name on top avenue. Stop before the interview. Since she's heard stories and she's heard things. This is on the mic and the turntables. This young reporter, I did the door. So rock the vicious rhyme like I never did before. Said, damn, black guy, I'm in love with you.
All right, Brett Baer is significantly better than Vivek.
Significantly.
Not even close.
Yeah.
But he's done this a few times. This was only 4 years ago, and it was probably planned that he gets up there, so he's ready. I don't know.
All right.
Vivek was like a kid in college, like goofing off.
You're way out of the majority, Dawn. 74% say no, it was not any good. And yes, I like people on the chat like this won't make me not vote for him. It's like it's just we calm down.
If anything, it shows you that Republicans like rap too. They just can't do it well.
Brett Baer's his stage name, I guess they gave him the name Dapper Rapper. It's silly.
So there is and forgive me for saying this, but this is what they're saying in the news report. There is a new queer middle school
Yes.
Oh, just for queer people?
That offers, well, it offers a safe space for
School choice.
LGBTQ identifying students.
Okay.
It's opening in Phoenix, Arizona this upcoming school year, so I guess in August or September. That plans to provide LGBTQ identifying students as young as 10 years old with a safe educational space.
Okay.
It's called the Queer Blended Learning Center,
Okay.
supported by Arizona's taxpayer-funded voucher program. It will open its doors to students from 10 to 14 years old this August. School officials noted that the cost of tuition matches the state's voucher amount of up to $7,000 and that parents would not be required to cover any out-of-pocket costs to enroll their children. This is the news report from Arizona. Cut 3 here, Daniel.
Frankly, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade were some of the hardest years for me. I had changed schools every single school year.
Fitting in was hard for Nate Roten when he was a kid.
Today, if I were in junior high, I would love to be able to live my full, authentic self.
As the CEO of 1 in 10, an advocacy group for the LGBTQ plus youth, his goal is to offer a safe space for middle school students, one he never had. Inside the nonprofit's youth center is the new Queer Blended Learning Center, where students will learn from a curriculum built by Spark Community Schools.
Specifically, culturally responsive curriculum in civics and LGBT history, just making sure we're telling stories from every angle, from every perspective and point of view.
Traditional subjects like science, math, and reading are also included.
And then, at the end of the day, we end with project-based learning, which is something that has been proven to take what you learn in those core subjects and really make it relevant.
Because this is a micro school, the teacher-student ratio is 1 to 12. Parents can also tap into the state's universal voucher program to cover tuition.
Our tuition is what that voucher amount is, so that it is available to any parent. It is not above that. There should be no out-of-pocket cost to the family.
It's all about creating that space where they can just be the best version of themselves.
Okay, so
the school calendar is August 1st through May 23rd with the traditional breaks in between, guys.
And Casey, you mentioned this is a micro school. So how many students are already enrolled in this new school?
So micro is small, right? And
Yeah.
there are only 8 students and 1 teacher right now. However, those numbers are expected to go up. The goal is to have 2 teachers and 1 classroom aide. And it is open enrollment, so students can jump in when they're ready any time of the school year. And we do have a link at azfamily.com under the As Seen On tab where parents can learn more about it.
And maybe people are just finding out about it right now and they still have time. Casey, thank you.
Okay, so it's obviously in high demand. Eight students have enrolled, and on a serious note, a queer community had to deal with a lot years and years ago. I think we've become far more inclusive and tolerant of people's personal choices in today's day and age. But you know what? If there's a demand for it, and you feel, and I don't really believe that you're not in a safe space, but if you believe you need to be in one of those safe spaces, and this is an option, I'm open for school vouchers for everybody. I love the concept of school vouchers. I was going to get to that story a little bit later, but I'll just give you a couple of the bullet points. You heard $7,000 on average, according to this story in Arizona. It's $7,200 per student annually. And since launching last September, and Tom Horn has been the Republican who won election last year in Arizona, who has spearheaded this from the public education standpoint. Since launching it last September, it's grown from about 12,000 students to more than 59,000, outpacing projections. State education officials estimate the enrollment could grow by next summer to 6 figures, to over 100,000 people. So we'll have 100,000 people, and then we'll throw in 8 other individuals as well. So we'll have 100,008.
These school voucher programs are popular for all different kinds of groups.
Correct.
I think that's a good thing. And our Governor Josh Shapiro had promised such a voucher program and then went back on that. And that conflict has stalled our Pennsylvania budget approval.
Yep.
And then you complicate it with the fact that you had a resignation of a Democrat who's running for something else. So now we're at 101 and an even legislature. And so what's going to happen in Pennsylvania, these types of voucher programs are something like 85% they in the African-American community here in Philadelphia and across Pennsylvania, especially in the so-called brown and black community, These vouchers are a lifeline. That's why it's called the Lifeline Scholarship Program. It's hugely popular.
You've covered this extensively, especially in Pennsylvania. And I don't mean to put you on the spot. If you don't have the answer, that's fine. Because I don't have boys, and I don't have my kids up here going to school with the option of school choice. So can you use this voucher or this school? Can you use it from an athletic standpoint? Like if you want to get your kid into a school district at a high school that's well known for like a state football powerhouse, can that be part of your reason to capitalize and cash in on it, or does it have to be for other reasons?
Let me give you a perfect example of exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
Friday going into Labor Day weekend is the battle. It's the battle down the shore. It's all the football teams from South Jersey across Philadelphia region, suburbs, all that. It's a football sort of a playoff, a day-long thing. It starts in the morning, goes all day. Everybody gathers. It's a lot of fun. So let's take Gratz, Simon Gratz. Let's just take them for an example. So why is it that public school teams don't have a chance? You know why? Because the very best players are cherry-picked by, St. Joe's Prep or LaSalle College High School, right? And truthfully, a lot of these kids are scouted out, even though I'm not supposed to say this. But somehow, kids in the, 6th grade end up, wow. And they're coming from a poorest area in Philadelphia. And wow, this kid is going to one of the top private schools in the region and the suburbs. And everything is fully paid. How did that happen?
Well, that's been going on 25, 30 years. I remember up in the Lehigh Valley where Greg and I went to high school. I went to Easton High School, but there was a high school called Bethlehem Catholic, and they would always have kids on their team that did not live in and around, wherever the geographical parameters are. And it's like, well, how did this kid get there? Oh, okay.
So let's just say now, you're not the top. You're not a top 3. You're not the very best where they're going to pick you. But let's say you're more, maybe you're still a top 10 in your school, right? And you can't afford, your family cannot afford that. But now let's say you can take one of these vouchers and go to a school, let's say Germantown Academy.
Yeah.
Let's say in the Interact, where your classroom size is 6 to 10 children. You now have a shot academically at an Ivy League school or write your ticket.
Right.
You might not be the next Jalen Hurts, but your football talent or your basketball talent or your throws talent, etc., may very well now, if you get the right education in high school, catapult you into a totally different life journey that you never could have experienced. That's what this lifeline means.
All right.
It is critical for the children of Philadelphia.
Going back to this quote unquote queer middle school, though, aren't we creating a sort of segregation amongst groups?
Yeah, under different gender identities and sexual orientations.
Yeah, let's go back to having all black middle schools.
Yeah,
what are we doing? And I don't know, the whole notion of safe spaces and stuff. I will admit, growing up in the 90s and stuff and going to school, there were a lot of people that weren't very tolerant of gay
We were
issues.
pretty ruthless.
I understand that. But you know what? Times have changed. And, for these kids to say, well, we need a safe space, I almost think that a lot of the kids who are, gay or trans or whatever, they're probably more popular than, you know what I mean? Like
kids don't care.
That's what I mean. Times have changed.
And you just have so many people that are in politics or whatever that are okay with all of this. And I never even really thought about it from a segregation standpoint, but you bring up a great point. And I think, maybe that is kind of the agenda behind it, because they want to continue to divide and have us all in our own corner and surrounded by people that we only agree with politically, that we only look the same.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Can I just interject
it's
here?
like the opposite of inclusion, right?
Look at it. The point is the teachers union is so against the school choice because the market will decide. You mentioned only 8 kids have signed up. So now this school, they won't be able to survive probably. And what they're going to realize is that in the first of all, none of the kids care. It's all about politics and dividing people and so on and so forth. So this school whether it survives or doesn't survive is not because of LGBTQ plus. Because those kids and those parents still want to make sure that they get the highest quality education.
And do you really need a separate school for 8
No,
kids?
of
You
course
just need
not.
a separate classroom.
But you don't need
theory.
anything separate, and that's what they're going to
Right.
learn.
But I'm saying if they want it and they feel like they're really in need of a, and again, I don't go to schools. I don't know what it's like, but to everybody's point, I'll echo the same thing. For the most part, it's not. Have we eradicated it completely? You're never going to have it to a
course not.
zero level.
No.
That's not feasible.
But in the private schools, this is not a big deal because the private schools automatically give you the curriculum as the parent. Of course they do. And if you want your kid to be involved in something, you have that choice. It's all about the choice. So let's say you, for religious reasons, whatever, they're very sensitive to that because why? Because the private school, you know what they say? The opening assembly line, thank you for the privilege of being able to educate your child.
Mm-hmm.
They are, in other words, you are the client. You are the customer. And your child is the customer. They cherish you and they put you first. They're not putting the partisan politics first. They're not putting Randy Weingarten first. They're putting you, the parent, and most of all, your child first.
It really pisses me off.
And that's what does pee her off because she does not want any part of this.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that we need to find a way to, like, everybody needs to come together, not grow apart. And the more we separate each other like, these kids are going to feel different because they're at a different school.
Right, and then what happens once you leave that, quote, safe space in
Yeah.
a school environment and you go to a dance or you go to a sporting event or you go
None
to
of the kids
college?
care.
They don't, are we going to create these in colleges? Are we going to create these in the workforce, at the workplace? What you do, I think, is you really handicap this person. You put them in such a setting where they feel great about now, but you're not going to be in that setting the rest of your life.
The only way that you're handicapping this person as far as the parents or society is making this person constantly look inward and check the box of their pronoun or their gender identity rather than doing what, in my experience, the private schools do, which is to say, you can do anything you want, you can be anything you want. And so there are no checked boxes in there. It's just be. Let the kids be. And learning is the focus because education is the solution. And if you get a high quality education, it is your ticket. It's a ticket that kids here in Philadelphia are denied.
That's true. Eric the Red says, so the student-teacher ratio at the safe school is 8-1. If I had school-aged children, I'd be tempted to send my kid just for that issue alone.
Sure.
Much more one-on-one time.
Yeah,
with
think
the
about
teacher.
it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going here. We have a teacher shortage here in Philadelphia. And Josh Shapiro knows this full well. He's a product of private and public education, mostly private, as well as his kids. And he promised this. And it is to look at different zip codes in Philadelphia with the poorest kids. They're the ones who would be eligible for this. That's why he promised it. And I'm hearing behind closed doors, they're still working on this thing. I hope it happens for us in Pennsylvania, specifically for Philadelphia children. Because to your point, if you look at just the class size, it's amazing, the education these kids get.
Yep.
But none of the kids, I have kids in school right now, and they said David's school had, Germantown Academy they had a Pride Day, and the kids could come out if they wanted to. I said, what happened on Pride? Because they're, they went to Catholic schools, obviously. Yeah. And he goes, Mom, none of the kids this is for the grown-ups.
But
none of the kids are going to come out on Pride Day. If they want to come out, they're just going to come out any day.
Yeah.
No, none of the kids care about this stuff. The grown-ups care about it.
I'm thinking back to the teacher there that said that at the end of the day, they will still have their core classes like science, English, math, reading, whatever else she said. I'm thinking that better not just be like a throw-in, because we've seen all these test scores lately, how far kids are behind.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're going to create this safe space now, and it's all about your identity and how you prefer to be referred to as. Well, okay, you want to be all about your identity, and I got that, okay, but at the end of the day, How about you get to the levels where you need to be from a math, reading, and science standpoint? Because we saw that one of the biggest effects of the pandemic was kids fell behind a grade and a half, 2 grades, and some of them aren't catching up.
Well, which kids? Philadelphia kids.
Well, kids that were shut out of school and had to go virtual.
In Philadelphia public schools because of the power of the teachers union.
Correct.
That's what this is all about.
Yep.
That's it. Boom. That's it. And you look at these, and it's horrifying to me. And what's his name? Michael Bradley. Now I'm going to get upset. In Montgomery County. He's the one. He instigated this whole thing and put the kibosh on what Shapiro had promised. You know how much he got from the teachers union? Look it up. It's more than $200,000. It's a sin. It's a sin. This is, you talk about a 2-tiered system. These kids in Philadelphia who've now lost years because of Randy Weingarten and the teachers union and so on and so forth, what these kids have lost and what it has done to their lives and denied them. And the fact that now that they don't get this voucher program, parents here should be outraged that it's not being covered like that. It's horrifying to me. It really is. We should call it racist. We should call it segregation. You call it whatever you want. It's just horrifying. And it's all because of that evil Randy Weingarten. She is evil. I hope to God she is judged on the judgment day for what she did to millions of school children across the nation. Shame on her. Yes. This history will look back upon this and say that woman, what she did, what she did and what this administration did to American children is downright evil.
Opening match, WrestleMania 40, Philadelphia, April 2024. Dawn Stensland and Randy Weingarten.
Yeah, let's go at it.
Steel
in the mud.
Cage, in the cage.
In the mud.
I got my money on Dawn.
Body slam.
Boom.
Boom.
Navy prepper, you are correct.
What?
Okay, go on.
What did Navy prepper say?
No, you got to reveal. You got to reveal what Navy prepper said. Come on.
No.
The whole audience is. Let me scroll through the chat. Navy prepper's always got comments. Greg looks bored.
I know. Greg is like. Well, just wait. See, Greg has a toddler. He's still working on potty training.
Joe Biden just said Greg is worried.
I was looking at a meme. I just retweeted it. It's a meme of Mitch McConnell when he went through his little episode, and it says, "The weed isn't doing anything." me 15 minutes later.
Actually, no. I had the same face the first time I ate a gummy. I was just sitting there on my couch like Mitch.
Oh my God.
Okay. Anyway. Are we done?
Yeah.
I think we're done. We're done in a lot of ways, but we're done for the cut sheet for sure. 855-839-1210. Still ahead this morning, Johns Hopkins masking 7-year-old children 40 months into the pandemic. And also, a couple of things on the school front. We got to the Arizona school choice vouchers, but maybe the return, the comeback of shop class in schools, and also summer camps going super woke. We'll get to all of that as we wrap up the 8 o'clock hour this morning. But before all of that, we've got Dawn Stensland's Big 3 at 8:31.
It's the Big 3 at 8 on Kayal & Company.
And Big 3 at 8 this hour, sponsored by Wawa. So let's talk about Krasner impeachment. Yeah, we've got Republican state representatives filing a legal brief yesterday urging the Supreme Court in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to allow District Attorney Larry Krasner's impeachment trial to proceed in Harrisburg. So we've heard rumblings all this week. What's going on? Is Krasner leaving? Is he taking another job? There are all of these rumblings going on. Well, attorneys for these representatives, Congress members Craig Williams and Timothy Bonner, 2 GOP lawmakers, appointed, remember, as the impeachment managers of that committee, arguing that these allegations against Krasner could rise to the level of criminal conduct. So Krasner's trial, which our own Dom Giordano was reporting live during, remember that whole situation, and there were hearings, that has all been suspended since January, shortly after the Commonwealth Court, a lower appeals panel, had ruled that it was not constitutionally sound to go forward with those articles of impeachment. So we're following this which I know Dom has been off, so it's got to kill him that they're talking Krasner impeachment.
Wait, Dom's off?
He was off yesterday, so he'll probably be back today.
I was going to say,
he'll be all fired up.
The first time I've ever heard Dom Giordano and vacation in the same sentence.
Well, it's, Roe every once in a while just
Oh.
puts her foot down
Yeah.
and says, this is it. We're going to Wildwood.
Yeah. I'm a lot like Dom. I don't like taking days off. I really don't.
Yeah, well, I truly think it was to make his beautiful wife, Roe, happy.
Happy wife, happy life.
That's right.
There you go.
If the queen is not happy, there is turmoil in the castle.
If the queen is not happy, the king will not feast.
Well put. Well put. We have, speaking of Dom Giordano and Wildwood, another Jersey Shore town implementing a big curfew because of teen turmoil down the shore. So this one making big news as Wildwood officials voted last night and approved this proposal to change the curfew for all teens and children from 1 a.m. That was their curfew. Now it's midnight, which is still way later than Ocean City as well as Sea Isle. But this rule applies to anybody who is 17 and under, and it takes effect this weekend. So new curfew coming after teens have been causing big-time trouble in Wildwood and a lot of violence, fights, fist fights, and all of that.
Well, hopefully they've had too many Mountain Dews or a couple of too many Zimas or Smirnoff Ices. It's 100 degrees out, and they have a little heat fatigue, and then they just they pass out for a couple of hours.
Yeah, so they're following suit with Ocean City and Seattle City residents putting their foot down and saying we're having to do a workaround as far as because of the policies that were promoted by Governor Phil Murphy. And we also have in the news, do you believe in UFOs? So we know that we had that the House hearing yesterday, congressional hearing with the UFO transparency. And we have a new study that says 50% or more of Americans, yes, believe in UFOs. So like they call them UAPs, right?
Yeah.
But it's a new study saying, yes, more and more Americans than ever believe in the unidentified flying objects.
Did you see the video the Babylon Bee put out that I sent you guys yesterday in our group text, where the alien is sitting in the conference room with all of these DEI officers, and he's totally confused by these people with their pronouns and everything, and are like, wait a minute, why the hell are we coming to Earth? These people are insane. We should play a little bit of that. It's pretty funny.
Yes,
the bee's great.
Why would we come here? They probably do think we're crazy.
Yep.
Well, we may be crazy, but we are sponsored by Wawa. Wawa's new rechargers are energy drinks for everyday doers. Whether you're going out or staying in, power through your day with a new handcrafted iced or frozen Wawa recharger. Gotta have a Wawa. Thank you, Wawa, for sponsoring Big Three.
All right. Thank you very much, Dawn. The YouTube chat really interested in the facial expressions or lack thereof of Greg Stalker. Heaven01 says, Greg is thinking. The wheels are spinning. Robert Schwartz also checks in. He says, Nick, if you ate a whole gummy the first time, you were really stoned. I was. I was like Mitch McConnell for a while. I'll do the laundry.
You know what? He's really good with preventing that from happening.
Oh, he does? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I don't want to piss Dawn off. I'm going to try to stay in Dawn's good graces. Next thing I'll be in a 2-on-1 match. It'll be me and Randy against Dawn. And we're still going to lose. 855-839-1210, the phone number. We'll come back, wrap up the 8 o'clock hour. Summer camps being inclusive, Johns Hopkins masking little kids, and also with the price of college, is it safe to say that shop class is making a comeback? It might be beneficial, and we'll tell you why. Kayal and Company, stay right there.
Don't give in to that constant joint pain. Take control. Take back your quality of life today with help from QC Kinetics. Hey, Dawn Stensland here. QC Kinetics is helping people here every day with their amazing non-surgical treatments which repair and restore damaged joint tissue. So they use the latest advances in regenerative medicine, taking your body's own healing agents, concentrating them, and then putting them directly into the area where you're suffering with that agonizing pain. This incredible non-invasive approach approach helps you take back control of your body, relieving the pain in your knees or your hips, shoulder, or back. No invasive surgery, no harmful drugs or steroids, no downtime. Listen, summertime needs to be about having fun. Call now for your free consultation with QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000, QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Get ready for a merry surprise because Rescue Natural Supplements is throwing their annual Christmas in July sale. That's right. The holiday season is making a summer comeback, and they're bringing the gift of huge savings. That means all health supplements will be slashed up to 50, 60, even 70% off site-wide. We're talking about savings on heart-healthy omega-3s, pain-relieving anti-inflammatories, natural immunity boosters, and much more to order. Call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a Rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. Again, don't miss Rescue's Christmas in July sale. Get savings up to 70% off all natural solutions for your highs and lows, from high blood pressure or cholesterol to low energy or testosterone. Rescue's got you covered. Hurry on over and unwrap the joy of a healthier you.
It's college season, and parents have a lot to consider.
You can say that again.
You got 6 college visits.
2 down.
18 care packages.
I know my baby.
Then there's Parents' Weekend.
Just one?
Speaking of, when you get a Citizen student loan with multi-year approval, all you need is one easy application. Learn more at citizensbank.com/one and done. Citizens, made ready.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hitting the pool or just lounging around? Take us with you. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome back in, Kayal and Company, 8:40 as we roll on Thursday morning. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Stream us on the free Odyssey app. Watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/@1210WPHT. Hit the like and subscribe button and be a part of the Kayal and Company comment community, where you can share your views and thoughts on whether or not Greg is in a good mood or if he's bored. Or if you want to wrestle Dawn or be on Dawn's team to wrestle Randy, you can say all that kind of stuff in there. We won't censor you.
I want to try and get to 200 likes.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to shoot for the stars. Yeah. If you're watching right now, youtube.com/@1210WPHT, please hit the like button. I want to try and get to 200 likes.
Okay.
Let's do it. Come on.
All right, let's do it.
Please.
You know, we've talked a lot about the rising costs of college tuition on this show. And, of course, Temple is raising their prices, as are other schools, even though safety is a big issue at Temple. But I have always been, and I'm fascinated by this story from CNBC, that high school shop class is making a comeback, and it's here to fill the trade skills gap. Yeah. Now, nobody will ever mistake me for a handyman. I cannot put together a swing set, a crib. I can barely fry an egg on my stove. I am not good in the skilled labor department, even though I like to cut the grass. But here's the thing with shop class. And I was at a very early age, 6th grade, 7th grade. And I've said this on the show. I knew I either wanted to be a lawyer or a teacher and a football coach. The radio thing didn't hit me until I was about a sophomore in college. But I actually, as bad as I was at actually putting things together or using tools and equipment, I loved shop class. And we only had it, if I recall correctly, in 8th and 9th grade, in between our middle school and our high school, because we didn't go to high school when I was in high school till 10th grade. So it was like the junior high school was 8th and 9th grade. And we had wood shop class. And I loved it. I'll never forget, I made my mom a wood cutting board. It was a disaster. I mean, it wasn't symmetrical. It wasn't smooth. But she could chop up a head of lettuce with the best of them on that bad boy. And I put like, her name on it with like some of the like the tools that you kind of brand the name into it. And I loved it. And the best part, I'll never forget the guy. His name was Mr. Bo. Mr. Bo, the woodshop teacher. And he always had like a little flask in his drawer. We always suspected that he was boozing. And he also used to be a security guard for if you're an old school wrestling fan, you'll remember the tag team called the Nasty Boys. He was a security guard for the Nasty Boys prior to becoming a teacher. Now, I don't know what qualifies you to be a woodshop teacher. I don't know if you need to have like a degree in education or if you're just good in that skilled set. But this is very interesting because we're talking about, and I think I mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago when I went out to Parks for comedy night with Zioli, I had dinner with one of our sales executives, Rob, and he was saying, as his daughter is looking at college, that Villanova now is looking for $60,000 a year, and that's undergrad. Now, assuming you don't get any financial aid or scholarships, grants, loans, whatever, you're looking at $240,000 for a bachelor's degree from Villanova. And Villanova's a great school. But if you're going to go to Villanova, I wouldn't recommend going for like a communications degree. From a cost effectiveness standpoint, you can get that elsewhere a lot cheaper. But you have this story, a kid named Nolan Brunn, who is now 22 years old, and he skipped a traditional 4-year college to get skilled in welding. He now makes $30 an hour. 30 years ago, high school shop class seemed on track for extinction. And I remember when I was in middle school and junior high and high school, we had this thing called CTE where kids would get their basic education the first half of the day, and then they would go to the trade school for the second half of the day. And it was about a 5 to 10 mile drive from the actual school. And you get trained in welding and all sorts of other skills. And if you think about it nowadays, it actually, if you're good at it and you love what you do, and I'm a big believer in if you love your job and you love what you do, you will never work a day in your life. When I get done doing a radio show, I'm exhausted, number one. But number two, I don't feel like I actually had to work because I love being able to have a platform to converse with people and talk about the issues of the day, whether it's sports or news and politics, social issues, you name it. But if that's your calling and you love it, and I can never do it, I don't have a desire for it, nor am I good at it. So I know when I try to stay in my lane, you can make a lot of money. And I think a lot of these people nowadays are like, 4 years of college, $100,000,
Yep.
masters.
Yep.
It's like you're in debt. And unless you're a leech and you want Joe Biden to bail you out, you're going to be paying that back for a long, long time, assuming you don't get aid. If I'm a youngster and my parents are like showing me the ropes, like, hey, here's an alternative option, and you have a passion for it and you're good at it, go for it because you could really command a big market salary. You can make 6 figures doing these jobs with ease.
I've been saying this for months. Unless you want to become a doctor or a lawyer, forgo college.
Yeah.
Don't go to college.
Yeah.
Just learn a trade. Find something you're interested in. Start an internship or whatever. Start out making $10 an hour doing something you love. You'll eventually get there.
Yeah.
College for most people, it's such a waste of time.
Especially
It's
if you
such a
don't,
waste of
especially if you have no and I'm not saying everybody has to have their life path and plan figured out when they're 17 or 18, or like I thought I had mine figured out at 12 and 13. But unless you say, hey, I it's my calling to be a nurse, or I feel like I absolutely have to be a school teacher, or whatever that you absolutely have to go to college for, then you go down this path. I mean, my God, you're in demand. You might even own your own business. And you look at a lot of even like the car stuff, I don't want to say mechanics, but you have the automotive trade school type stuff as well.
We're always going to need those people. We're always going to need that.
The demand never goes away.
AI ain't taking your plumber away from you. AI is not. It's like there are a lot of jobs. What we do could be one of them down the road as well. But there are many jobs that are going to go bye-bye because of AI. Trade stuff will not.
Yep.
Yeah, and they do. So most of them are making 6 figures. If you're an electrician, if you're a plumber, but not just that. I was looking up the North Monco Technical Career Center.
Yeah.
So that one offers its culinary arts, cosmetology, engineering, manufacturing, health and human services. There are a lot of them in there. So the technical programs are not just the traditional, whether it's an electrician or plumber, there are other careers as well, like culinary, cooking food. We love that, or cosmetology, some of those types of career.
I would have loved to, and I have I don't know if I would consider myself a foodie, but I kind of feel like I am. I love, and I'm not great at cooking, but I love trying to get something accomplished in the kitchen. I would have loved to go into culinary school. I mean, I probably would have wanted to be the guy that, ends up being a cook who has a TV show. I'd have been like Emeril Lagasse. I throw a little essence on it. Bam! Multimario stuff. Or like Guy Fieri. And then think about what you can do. I mean, you could be a cook and work for somebody, work at a high-end restaurant, be an elite chef. Maybe you've got a personality and it can parlay to, TV. Or maybe you open up your own restaurant and you are... How many times do you see people that actually own and operate the restaurant where they're the chef at?
A lot of this is... You can put a lot of the blame, too, on us, the parents, because we're the ones who push kids to go to college and do this. And look, I'm not saying, oh, nobody should go to college. Of course, there are good colleges out there if you have a trade or if you're in a sport or if you're doing something like that. I get it. I understand it all. But for the kids who are just aimlessly going to college because that's what you're supposed to do, it's a giant waste of time. It's a giant waste of money.
And if you do feel like college is for you and you don't know what you want to do, use those first 2 years at community college where it's ultra cheap compared to the alternative.
Or here's a thought.
Just get a job.
Get out of the workforce.
Yeah. Figure it out while you're working for 2 years.
Yes. You know what I mean? Like look, to be honest with you, the only reason I went to college was because back then, that's not so much anymore, but back then, you had to get an internship in radio to even get your foot in the door in radio.
Yeah, right.
And I knew I wanted to do this, so I was like, well, I have to go to college because that'll get me the internship to get into radio.
Yeah.
But now it doesn't. We don't even have interns.
No.
You know what I mean?
It's because we took advantage of them. Made them work like producers.
Well, no, I mean, that's the other thing too is that it's like, well, you're depriving them of making money and stuff like that. But think about, I learned so much. I got so much experience being an intern.
Yeah,
but that was a Supreme Court ruling, so you must pay the interns.
Yeah, of course.
And in part, the unions had a real problem, and news stations too.
Yeah,
I was a paid intern.
Yeah.
When I started out, but those paid internships were highly competitive.
Yeah.
1,000 people would apply for one.
Right.
But on the other hand, to your point, I mean, I know the unions had problems with them because they were having unpaid kids do it, which was absurd.
Right.
But on the other hand, it was a huge opportunity. And it's a shame we took that away.
I mean, I remember vividly my first opportunity in Philadelphia radio. I was an intern for Missinelli. And then I became a paid producer, and I produced for Bruno. And, 16 years later, you grind it out, you stick to it. And if you're somewhat good at what you do, you can make it. But it's a long journey. Chris in Jersey says, I'm a welder. I love it. I travel 260 days a year. I've worked everywhere in the lower 48, and I make over $100K a year, and I never went to college. So if, from an ego standpoint or a lifestyle standpoint, if you say I got to be somebody that makes six figures and make at least $100,000 a year to be happy with what I'm doing, well, you don't have to go to college to get that and achieve that. Or if you do and you stick it out for 16 years in radio and you finally get paid, then Biden inflation comes in and you're still making no money. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. I finally made it and I'm still broke. You loser. Sorry. Personal issue. But yeah, my sister's listening. And she's, she's got her bachelor and her master's and she's all colleged up. But she's also said you can get a CDL license and drive for UPS. They make $49 an hour.
Oh, my God.
Plus a...
Don't tell Daniel about it.
They just got a new contract.
Yeah, Valdez will be like Ace Ventura in the beginning where he's driving around with the fake box and he's dropping off the toy and he grabs the dog. They make $49 an hour and they get offered a ton of overtime. The average UPS driver makes $125,000 a year.
Wow.
Yeah. Let that sink in.
Is that the new contract? They just got the new contract.
Yeah, probably. I mean, think about that, too. You drive around. If you're a big fan of news talk or sport, you listen to the radio while you're doing your deliveries, and you make decent money. I can't imagine it's an overly stressful job unless you have a pain in the butt boss or something, or some terrible customers that give you grief, or a dog on the porch that's barking. Other than that, not bad. $125,000 a year.
Nice.
I might have to look at that when I get fired one day.
You gotta wear that little brown outfit, though.
What can brown do for you? Would you be an Amazon driver, Dawn? UPS, FedEx? Do you have a preference? You're an Amazon shopper, right? You get the packages dropped off on the porch all the time?
Larry does more of that stuff.
Oh, is he? He's got the Prime account?
Yeah, I do Walmart.
Yeah, that's right.
I like Walmart.
Shop amongst the deplorables.
That's right.
That's right. Rolling back prices every day, baby.
I love Walmart. I can.
Nobody loves Walmart.
I do. I love Walmart.
Nobody loves Walmart.
I was with some friends down the shore.
That's just a false statement.
No, it's not. I love Walmart. Okay. I'm going to take.
Are they chaining up their groceries yet?
They have everything. It's under one roof. But here's the thing. I have girlfriends down the shore, and they had these sandals. And they're I'm like, those are cute. And then I looked them up. They're like $130. I found the same pair of sandals at Walmart, $13.
Value shopping.
It's made in the same factory. It's all the same.
Okay. I would probably go for the $100 sandals myself, but
you would?
Yeah.
Why? It's the same thing.
Yeah, there's a little bit difference in quality, I would think.
No, it's not. They're all made in the same factory.
Same exact thing, just a different logo on it?
Yep.
All right.
I'm telling you.
I'm kind of a shoe person, though. I know I only wear sandals all the time, but I used to be like a big sneakerhead and shoe person. It was kind of my thing. Now I just blow my money on golf. But yeah, so there you go.
You can go to like the Macy's sale, 60 to 80% off. Did you see those? Another pair of Michael Jordan, like from back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those
sold.
old.
Another pair went for like $3 million.
Yeah, those old retro shoes get recirculated. They come back out in limited quantities, and people go nuts for them. That's a good way. My buddy, who was a kind of a corporate guy for Foot Locker for a long time, has like a closet full of. He's sitting on like 35 or 40 grand in unused shoes, still fresh in the box, and he puts them on the market. And he paid $150 for them. He got 30% off with his company discount, and he could turn them around right now for $300 or $400 profit.
Wow,
it's remarkable. Yeah, I was like, dude, you need to liquidate all of them now. That's a down payment for a house. What the hell are you doing? Sell them. He doesn't listen to me. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. But if you want to look up, the price of high-end versus low-end sandals, or you want to look at what the market value is for a pair of Michael Jordan basketball retro throwback shoes, can I suggest DuckDuckGo as a private browser, unlike Google Chrome, that won't track you, and it will block all of the trackers? See, that's what comes standard with the DuckDuckGo app and the DuckDuckGo private search. It's like Google, but it won't spy on your searches. And it's available everywhere. Android, iOS, Windows, Mac. You can use it on your laptop, your iPad, your smartphone, your Samsung, your Apple device. You name it, DuckDuckGo is there for you. An independent internet privacy company. And it's easy. With one download, DuckDuckGo will keep your searches and your browsing activity more private than any other option out there today. And guess what? They're not based in Silicon Valley, big tech on the West Coast. Nope. Founded right here in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley area. And it's very simple. It's so cool because when you actually download the app and you search something or you go to a website, you'll see all these little flashes on the screen up in the top-hand corner. Looks like a simulated dealing of a blackjack with a deck of cards. But those are all the pop-ups that are being blocked, all the tracking and spyware devices. And you can click on it and see what was actually trying to spy on you. DuckDuckGo.com. Download the app today.
Wells Fargo lets you know where you stand with your FICO credit score. What if you knew where you stood with everything? Like your kids' friends.
Hey, boys. How do cows stay informed?
Dad, don't.
They read the Moo paper.
Mr. Otis, you're the funniest.
It's good to know where you stand. And when it comes to your FICO credit score, you can with a Wells Fargo account.
Visit wellsfargo.com/getFICO to learn more. Terms and conditions apply. FICO is a registered trademark of Fair Isaac Corporation in the United States and other countries. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is a serious heart condition. Some symptoms include being short of breath, feeling tired, or having dizziness or chest pain. My HCM impacted how I felt and what I could do. So I asked my cardiologist about treatment advances that gave me new options. That conversation was big for me. Talk to your cardiologist today. You may be glad you did.
John was compensated for his time. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb.
You're invited to a private showing of the most important movie you'll see in retirement.
The Baby Boomer Dilemma is a groundbreaking documentary from award-winning director Doug Orchard. Throughout the film, Nobel Prize winners, PhDs, and esteemed economists expose the cracks in the financial industry that have 401ks, IRAs, Social Security, and other retirement plans on the brink of collapse. After the movie, you'll receive an education that's unlike any other. Learn how to apply the solutions presented by these experts, which align with and validate our proprietary crash-proof retirement system, proven by over 5,000 consumers. Join us at the Falls at the Doubletree in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, August 16th, and let Crash Proof Retirement provide you the crucial information you need to avoid the baby boomer dilemma that's on the horizon. Registration is required. 800-722-9728 or crashproofretirement.com.
Lose weight and feel great with NJ Diet. NJ Diet uses DNA and blood work to help you lose weight and keep it off. Tune into the radio show Sunday at 2 or visit njdiet.com.
How are you feeling? Are you still in that constant joint pain and you haven't been taking control and taking back the quality of your life? You got to do this today with help from my friends at QC Kinetics, which is helping people every single day here in Philadelphia, across the region, and across the country. They have amazing non-surgical treatments which actually repair and restore damaged joint tissue. It's amazing. These are the latest advances that they use in regenerative medicine, taking your own body's healing agents, concentrating them, and putting them directly into the area where you're suffering with that agonizing pain. It's incredible. It's non-invasive. It's an approach that actually helps you take back control of your body, relieving all that pain that's keeping you from doing what you want to do. Pain in your knees? Are you avoiding, like, nah, I don't feel like golfing? You know you do. But you got that pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulder, your back. No invasive surgery, no harmful drugs, and no steroids, no downtime. Summertime, it's got to be about having fun, right? Getting out, making those memories. It's your life to live. You got to grab it, and you got to grab it with the help of my friends from QC Kinetics. I've been to some of their centers, especially the one in King of Prussia. They do an awesome job, so professional, and everything is under one roof. The doctors, the laboratory, everything. Just check it out. Just go in for a free consultation with QC Kinetics. Would you please call them? They are the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. 215-999-3000, 215-999-3000. Just do this for yourself. QC Kinetics, 215-999-3000. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Calling on Blackwood to follow 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
It is Kayal Company, 9:01. Welcome back in, fourth and final hour, Thursday morning. Heat wave upon us here in the Delaware Valley. A busy final hour ahead. Our morning mystery movie clip coming up in less than 20 minutes. Another shot for you to get a $50 gift card to the Metro Diner. Taking some waffles. Summer of waffles, baby. A staycation. Load up. We'll give you that opportunity at 9:20. What's on the cut sheet, part due. What's on tap for the Dawn Show today. And who on Twitter today, all still on the way. Also, this story of a naked woman in San Francisco in a highway shootout. Yeah, what the hell, right? It's San Francisco. They chain up their frozen pizzas at Walgreens, and they have naked shootouts on the interstate. We'll get to that, and if you're on video and you're watching us on YouTube, you will see the video of that. If you're listening on radio, we will try to narrate it as best we can as to what we are watching on our monitors and devices. But let me grab Maureen here. She wants to chime in on the conversation we were having about trade schools. Maureen in Wynwood, you're up next. What's going on this morning, Maureen?
Good morning, Kayal and Company. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking my call. And I wanted to comment. Our older son went to Episcopal for a number of years, and they taught shop from the time the kids were young there. As a regular class. Yep. And then he begged us to leave Episcopal, and he went and ended up at Lower Merion. Mm-hmm. And this is an interesting story. He was he was really good at this stuff. And his summer jobs during college, he always had a good job because of it. But anyway, so he transfers to Lower Merion and takes shop again. And he comes to and they give him a list of things they're going to do for the year. Well, he's way beyond that. So he goes to the teacher and he says, could I do something different? I know how to do all these things. And first the teacher says, no, you're going to do what everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
So he whips through all the projects, and the teacher comes to him and says, you can do anything you want for the rest of the year, and you can go in the shop whenever you want.
You can teach the class. Why not?
Yes, really. And honestly, and he made us a beautiful picnic table that is still in the family today. He made me a coffee table with hinges on it. Was for storage. Beautiful stuff. And he learned all that, and even though he can still do it all, and he took a welding class later on. But he does very well. He works for my brother's company, does all kinds of things. And it was all, that was his passion and his love. And it's worked out very, very well for him.
That's very nice. Maureen, great story. One quick question for you, though. Did he ever make you a cutting board for your kitchen?
No.
Well,
no,
I am pretty well versed in the cutting board elements of woodshop class. So if you ever need one to chop up your salad, I'm your guy. Okay.
Absolutely, but I wanted to really share that story because I think it's so important.
Yep, absolutely is.
Yeah.
Maureen, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for listening.
Isn't a cutting board just a flat piece of wood?
Hey, it was special for me at the time. All right, it was the first thing I made.
And he engraved his mom's name on the cutting board.
Exactly.
I'm sure she treasured it.
Yeah.
Who has it now?
I have no idea. I think it burned down.
Oh, because the house burned.
Yeah, remember that story? Yeah, turned to ashes. All my hard work up in smoke. Story of my life.
Jesus, man.
Stop.
You have quite the story.
I
dude.
do.
Oh, my Lord.
Wait till the book comes out. You guys will be in it. You guys will be in it.
You
There's
do
no doubt.
depress the hell out of me.
Well, here, let's do something more, something less depressing.
Yeah.
How about a bizarre video that shows a naked woman shooting
Thank
indiscriminately at cars on a bridge in San Francisco?
I would love this.
Let's delve into
only in
this.
San Francisco.
And she
That's
looks just
right.
like Margot Robbie, right?
Yeah. Today is the day that I am so happy we have the YouTube video because we can play a video of a naked woman and it won't get taken down.
Now, do we have to say viewer discretion is advised? Because yesterday we showed a lady with red hair and small eyebrows, and we freeze framed that, and Valdez zoomed in. Are we going to zoom in on this lady's like keister as she's firing off round after round?
Well, you can't miss the keister.
Yeah. I mean, this is part of a news clip. Wait, Daniel, this is part of a news clip, right?
I thought this was cell phone video.
But the woman is actually, it's blurred out because she's full on butt naked.
Yep. She's in her birthday suit, folks. And she's had enough of it. She's had enough of Gavin Newsom, the state of California, the lawlessness in San Francisco. And she says, you know what? I'm taking the law into my own hands. So here's exactly what played out, and you will see the video. So cell phone video captures a woman who was shooting randomly at cars. It's like, back in the day when you had like the potato gun, you and your buddy, and you try to shoot a car from atop a cliff. She's randomly shooting at cars on a highway bridge in San Francisco. And you can see her now. There's cars everywhere. There's trash in the intersection.
Wait. Hang on. We're playing the video right now. Can't we get the unedited version, Daniel? I mean, this is YouTube. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, if you want to get flagged, knock yourself out.
We'll get flagged for
we get flagged for playing certain songs.
Look at that. Look, can you imagine?
Ooh.
Can you imagine?
Now this is a lady, but
yeah. She's literally shooting at cars.
Yeah, it's like she's in a video game. Like she's playing Grand Theft Auto, and she's just running around in the street. There's cars left and right. There's looks like 6 lanes. There's a median, all the exit signs, and she's just out there having the time of her life.
Can I tell you something? This would never happen in Philadelphia because on the Schuylkill.
Yeah, I know.
No, she would be.
She'd be
roadkill.
roadkill.
Yeah.
Old Man Dudley has the greatest comment on YouTube. It says she's naked, however, she's wearing shoes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you got to protect the toes.
I mean,
it's hot out. Global warming can burn your feet. Yeah, hot macadam.
She thought to herself, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go naked and shoot at cars, but I got to protect the old feet."
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out because other than with the blur out job, other than what looks like a ponytail and a bun, she's kind of mannish looking, isn't she?
Well, yeah. I mean, clearly
This could be another TikTok breakdown here. This could be somebody that's like transitioning or doesn't know their own pronouns.
Well,
and just had enough.
Shafe on YouTube says, I don't want to see where she conceal carries.
No.
Yeah. Well, thank goodness she was naked and didn't have pockets for bullets because she did run out of bullets.
Now, let me ask what I think should be the obvious question, but I guess maybe the answer is obvious because it's 2023. Why have the cops not popped one in her leg?
Because
She's
it's
out there.
Because first of all, it's California.
I know, and defund, and I get all of this.
I don't think that's the way they're trained.
But my God, this person is shooting live ammunition at. She's like at the carnival, like she's trying to win a prize.
Raphael says, in a small town, they would have run her over.
Yeah.
In San Francisco.
Hey, try that in a small town. Jason, you try that down in Chattanooga, Tennessee. They're gonna put one in you.
Yeah, I mean, she's very naked. Can we put the video up again? You can keep the blurred one up. It's fine.
You want to go complete?
No, I'm just look. It's YouTube. We can play stuff like this, right? There we go.
I don't know the rules anymore.
Yeah, it's what would you do if you saw this? Would you?
Well, do I have a permit and a gun? Am I carrying? I'm probably stopping and.
I don't know. If I'm seeing this, I'm flooring it and
that's
trying to.
That's probably
No. I'm trying to hit her.
Okay. Well, I think the first thing I do is flee. The second thing I do is, if I have a gun, get out and defend myself, especially from behind to end the threat, since law enforcement is just there to, apparently smile and try to talk down the person. I mean, would you get charged if you ran that person over?
No.
I can't imagine.
If you're on a busy highway and you don't see the person, she's kind of large, so it's hard to not see her on the highway. Look how slow they're going. I thought that would never happen in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Boom. But it's broad daylight. It's not dark.
I know. That's what's...
I love how she fires off 2 shots, one, and then like a second delay, a second one. And then she looks to her left like, hey, you recording this? You getting this? Look what I'm doing. And now he just shoots up into the air like a random bullet, up into the clouds.
Yeah, she looks, from her back, she looks very manly.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I can't tell
she's obviously having a psychotic breakdown, right?
Well, yeah, because sane people don't do that. I don't know. Polynesian, maybe? I'm trying to figure out what the identity of this person is. Real dark hair, looks like a ponytail.
I don't see anybody identifying her.
I want to know what the motive is.
Or talking about the arrest.
I mean, is this like a deranged person that got fired from their job and then just went off the grid the next day and went nuts? We hear about that a lot of times, but usually those people return to the place of the employment and start shooting. Wow. This is awful. Like, I know we're having fun with this, but I mean, this is scary. Like, imagine being on. I mean, this would be like this road, maybe the equivalent of 95. As far as
I'm not sure what we're playing the video that they showed on ABC 7 out there in the Bay Area.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what road this is.
Wow. And honestly, there's not a ton. I mean, there's cars, but this had to be probably middle of the day. This does not look like rush hour.
Yeah, that's a good point because there's not a ton of cars. Yeah.
I mean, they're randomly scattered. I see about 20, 25 cars over 6 lanes. Which...
Common Sense on YouTube says, this is a new twist on Frogger. I remember the game Frogger.
Yes. Oh, my God. Look at this.
Yeah.
Wow. So nobody tries to take her out, not even the cops.
No.
This is the world we live in now.
Well, I mean, look, she's not. Somebody also pointed out that she wasn't shooting when the cops tried to take her in. So,
right.
What are they like? What's her? They're not just going to shoot her.
Something tells me.
I mean, I would have.
Oh my God! I would have just at least tase her. Shoot something in her leg.
Yeah, but no police officer in California in Nancy Pelosi's California is going to do that because can you only imagine they would be the one persecuted, prosecuted,
they'll be
fired.
on trial. Yeah. Wow. I don't know how people do it anymore. I don't know how you can be a cop in this day and age. I really don't. I have so much respect for what they do, especially over these last 4 or 5 years. All right. Well, there you go. 855-839-1210, the phone number. The Morning Mystery Movie Clip in just about 7 minutes. Right now we get to Dawn Stensland's Big 3 at 9:13.
It's the Big 3 and 9 on Kayal and Company.
We should mention that SEPTA is retraining its bus drivers and reevaluating the entire fleet after these 4 accidents happening in less than a week. And remember, one of those accidents on last Friday afternoon on the Roosevelt Boulevard actually left one woman dead, a driver in critical condition, and more than a dozen other people injured, according to the authorities. So now SEPTA is saying after the latest incident with a SEPTA bus crash, they are making sure that they retrain everybody and reevaluate why all of these accidents have been happening. But they say, in truth, this is just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence that
Just
we've had 4
Yeah.
in less than a week. That's number 1 in our Big 3 at 8. And, of course, we are sponsored by our friends who we thank at Piazza Auto Group for sponsoring our Big 3. So let's talk about Trump, shall we? Because there is some Trump news for sure, if I can get at this, because we may learn today some Trump news. This as the Trump legal and political teams are preparing for the possibility that the federal grand jury will vote on charges against the former president as early as today. So we have new sourcing on this. So we're just waiting if there's something new
This
breaking.
is in regards to January 6th.
Yeah.
There'll be an indictment on that front. Okay.
So we're just waiting if there's something new, another shoe to drop.
Well, they said it should happen at some point this week. So I'm not surprised. I think today or tomorrow for sure.
Yeah, so we're watching that one very carefully today throughout the day. And remember, we're live and local from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m., so we'll bring you the very latest.
Well, you got to
that
also
one.
get people's attention away from UFOs and the Bidens. So here's a perfect, hey, let's throw in a Trump stink bomb today.
I had never heard the term UAP, back
Right.
to the UFOs, which you've talked a lot about in your Big Take. If people missed the Big Take right at 6:10, it was all about this UFO situation. And we talked about Hunter Biden as well. And there's more reaction to the Hunter Biden fallout happening in Wilmington, Delaware. But number 3, I'll take us to a lighter story. And this is the fact that, remember the hero dog that helped catch that dangerous prison escapee in Pennsylvania? The hero dog now got some treats. Pennsylvania State Police doing a little treat for the doggy.
Oh, nice.
So it was kind of a cute little story because a family dog in Pennsylvania had actually started barking at something in the woods, wagging his tail. They said, "What's wrong, boy? What's wrong?" And he actually led them to this escapee hiding in the woods near their home.
Because most dogs don't do what like a Biden dog does, and that's bite people. They actually serve a good purpose.
Yeah, and that was 10 dog bites
Yeah.
on that one. But in any event, it was the family received, for the hero dog, actually received $2,000 reward for the capture of Michael Burham, that prisoner. But then yesterday they had kind of a cute little meet and greet, showed the hero dog, gave him some doggy treats. So it was nice.
You give Buddy Boy some treats?
Oh, yeah, some chicken.
Yeah.
He only gets chicken. We're very careful with his diet.
No red meat for Buddy?
Not as much.
No?
Chicken. Chicken and rice.
No like strip steak or ribeye bone?
Maybe a little.
All right.
A little bit. Got to be careful. He doesn't get any scraps. We have him on a strict diet.
All right.
All right, Piazza Auto Group. Start the summer season off right with the perfect Hyundai from your trusted dealers. Piazza Hyundai of Pottstown and Westchester. Shop the 2023 Elantra, Tucson, Santa Fe, and much more. PiazzaHyundai.com. Thank you, Piazza Auto Group, on this hot day. Be safe, everybody, because the heat emergency begins in 13 minutes in Philadelphia. It'll feel like 106 degrees until Saturday, 8 p.m. We're under this heat emergency. Thank you, Piazza Auto Group, for sponsoring our Big 3 at 9.
All right, Dawn, thank you very much. 855-839-1210 is the phone number. Morning Mystery Movie Clip coming up in just about 3 minutes. You know, we talked about the Hunter Biden story from about 6:25 until a little after 7 o'clock this morning. And obviously yesterday was really historical from the standpoint of two things. One, kind of the ineptitude of what you thought was a formality, pretty much a routine procedure. Hunter Biden, his defense attorneys, prosecutors agreeing on a plea deal, go in front of the judge, and, make sure that the defendant is aware of everything that he is admitting and entering into. And, as Dawn said, this should be done in 25, 30 minutes. That was not the case. Judge rejects the plea deal based on a lot of nonsense that was going on, essentially, that Hunter Biden would be granted immunity federally moving forward, while many things are still kind of up in the air and under investigations that are ongoing. And also, we gave you some of the legal analysis from Jonathan Turley from Fox News, but Turley's got a new article out today for themessenger.com. And it says, here's the headline. And this is a very interesting thing to keep in mind, because I think a lot of us are like, okay, at the end of the day, Hunter Biden is never going to go to jail, or Joe Biden is never going to be ending up behind bars. With the debacle in Delaware, there remains the ultimate break the glass option for the Bidens. And I think this will probably irritate a lot of Republicans, but it is a potential possibility. The president could pardon his son. Keep in mind, when you're the president, you have this pardoning ability. He could pardon his son, Hunter, and then announce he will not run for re-election. Now, that is a very interesting curveball thrown in, and I really do not see that. Now, certainly that's a possibility. In theory, it is something that at Biden's disposal, but I can't envision Biden. I think as long as Biden is breathing, he will continue on with his re-election campaign and be the Democratic nominee. But, this was a really interesting day yesterday where I think at least you could say, if you're in the anti-Hunter Biden sentiment camp, that, okay, we've heard about these 2 tiers of justice. Well, now we have a judge who's not giving Hunter Biden any breaks, any benefits of the doubt. And I think they have up until, again, September 1st to get this in order and get this done. Doesn't mean that a plea won't happen again at some point in August, and this time they'll be able to actually execute it and finalize it. But I think yesterday was at least a day where people say, okay, Hunter Biden, you're going to have to face the music, and you're not going to get this sweetheart deal. And also, you just feel like, momentum is something you can't see it, you can't quantify it, but you can feel it. It does feel like the momentum really is shifting against the Bidens across the board in many ways, to the point where the mainstream media can't even ignore it now. We played you some of those clips earlier this morning from the Ellie Honigs of CNN and other individuals. This is not just a Republican witch hunt, a conservative vendetta. This is at a point now where I think all of the typical usual suspects that put something on the back burner or flat out dismiss and ignore a story can no longer do that. So I think that's kind of where we're at. We'll see how that plays out. And again, you think about the timing of all of this between Hunter, between Joe, what's looming with Trump. Now we get these UFO whistleblowers. There's you throw a whole bunch of drama into the pot. You try to confuse everybody, distract everybody, and hopefully people grab one of this instead of that. And and of course, you just heard Dawn there with, the expectation of maybe something happening today with Trump indictment, January 6th, so forth and so on. But I love this judge. This judge is like, no plea deal. No, not going to happen in my. And oh, by the way, probably a good 12, 13 hours before this goes down, the night before, Biden attorneys try to essentially impersonate the opposition attorneys by calling this judge and trying to have certain things redacted. I mean, this is something, and Dawn, you said it perfectly. You couldn't draw this up in a Hollywood script, but had it been the other way around and it had been a Trump attorney trying to pull the wool over the eyes of the judge, this would be the number one story about Donald Trump, crooked, CNN, I mean, they would be, Joy Reid would be falling off of her stool doing her monologue.
True.
So it's been a absolutely wild story. All right, let's, it's time for the morning mystery movie clip. It's 9:22. Let's see if you can identify this clip for a chance at a Metro Diner $50 gift card.
And now, the morning mystery movie clip on Kayal Company. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Wait a minute. Is this that place? Yeah, did you? It was on the real road? Are you kidding me? Oh my God, it's great. Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm so much more relaxed. Thank you, Helen. I just feel like I'm excited and I feel relaxed and I'm ready to party with the best of them. And I'm gonna go down to the river.
Wow, it looks like somebody's really relaxing now.
Think you know what it is? Be call at 12 at 855-839-1210, and you could win this great prize.
How about this? $50 Metro Diner gift certificate. Metro Diner has launched a Summer of Waffles, an entire season devoted to the Savory Sweet Breakfast Classic. For 5 weeks, guests can earn a dining discount and prizes by taking a summer waffle staycation at their local Metro Diner and ordering up an array of hot-off-the-iron treats. Visit metrodiner.com. Caller 12-855-839-1210. If you can identify this clip where one of the actresses in that movie we just played, it's her birthday today. 51 years old, and she's been known to portray a certain individual in an administration. Yeah, see if you can identify this movie. 2011, $50 gift card. Metro Diner on the line.
Hire comedian Joe Conklin for corporate events, golf outings, and private parties.
Yo, this is Tom Sapplager from Schreiner Tree Care out in King of Prussia. We had Joe Conklin. We did not stop laughing for the whole show.
Hey, this is George Wolf. We've had Joe Conklin at our events for the last 3 years. He will keep coming back in droves.
Hi, this is Al Morgani from the Dave the Geese Foundation in Medford. We hired Joe Conklin. He arrived drunk, and things went downhill from there.
Hire Joe Conklin for your next event. Go to joeconklin.com. JoeConklin.com.
When you call Oliver Heating and Cooling, you get reliable service for your home's heating, cooling, plumbing, and electrical systems. Just like your car needs regular service and an oil change, your AC system needs an annual tune-up to make sure it's running safely and efficiently all summer. Our technicians will do a complete inspection for only $70. We service all makes and models and guarantee our work. Call Oliver today to schedule your appointment for a tune-up or visit us online at oliverheatcool.com. Oliver Heating and Cooling. Peace of mind for your home and business.
I am Judith Krupnik, president of Cherry Hill Volvo. At Cherry Hill Volvo, we are offering the new electric XC40 lease for as low as $487. An absolutely fabulous offer, $487. No sales tax for New Jersey residents. Monies due at signing are license fees and the first month's payment only. This is an incredible offer. Considering the electric XC40, now is the time. Visit Cherry Hill Volvo online or in person for a great selection. Our team looks forward to seeing you very soon.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Cherry Hill Volvo Studios, where relationships matter. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Chronic pain, cancer, fatigue. Find out about the benefits of medical hydration therapy on Health Watch with Dr. Molly Fantasia every Sunday morning at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Don't miss the Education Show with Dom Giordano every Sunday morning at 5:30. Find out how you can help your child or grandchild succeed. Sponsored by New Hope Academy.
Hi everyone, this is Stephanie Kelly from Emmons Roofing and Siding, and I have some exciting news to share. Emmons has partnered with SunPower, the top-rated home solar company in New Jersey. SunPower has been leading the solar industry for over 37 years and is the only U.S. solar company that's lasted longer than their 25-year warranty. Kill the bill. The energy bill, that is. Imagine no more high energy bills, while all the while helping reduce your carbon footprint at no cost to you. It's a win-win. Yes, we now offer solar, but remember, if you need a new roof, siding, doors, windows, or interior remodeling, don't wait. Right now, Emmons is offering all 1210 listeners 10% off roofing, siding, and Anderson windows. And we are continuing to offer 12-month same-as cash financing. And don't forget that lifetime warranty on your roof. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 856-885-6677, emmonsroofing.com. Roofing, siding, windows, doors, kitchens, baths, and solar. Trust Emmons to be your first and last stop for all your home improvement needs. emmonsroofing.com.
Do you know your numbers? What numbers? Your heart health numbers, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar, and your body mass index. They're important, so ask your doctor. Learn your numbers, and if something doesn't seem right with them, see a Deborah specialist at one of our offices throughout South Jersey. After all, when it's your heart, you don't take chances. Find a specialist near you at demanddeborah.org.
Do you have heart failure and often hear,
"Those stomach issues ruined your birthday"?
"You're too tired to play catch, Grandpa."
Sweetie, you haven't touched your tools since the carpal tunnel syndrome diagnosis.
if these seemingly unrelated symptoms sound familiar, talk to your cardiologist. Ask about transthyretin amyloid cardiomyopathy, or ATTR-CM, a rare and underdiagnosed disease that gets worse over time. Learn more at connecttoyourheart.com. That's connecttoyourheart.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
If you speed, there's lots of sounds you might hear, like the sound of your vehicle crashing, because eventually, speed catches up with you. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with the IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-956-4775. 800-956-4775. 800-956-4775.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Don't miss Dr. Marianne Ritchie, your radio doctor, Saturday afternoons at 5. Tune in for accurate information so you can make the right medical decisions. Your radio doctor, Dr. Marianne Ritchie, Saturday afternoons at 5 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Phillies baseball is in full swing.
It's a 3-run home run for Alec Bohm and a 6 RBI night.
With the free Odyssey app, local fans can listen live all summer long, whether you're at the grill or at the pool.
The ball bobbled. The Phillies win. Bryson Stott has won it.
Phillies baseball. Phillies announcers. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app. AUDACY. Get in the game and download it today. Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
Kayal Company, 9:30, Thursday morning. Just about 8 minutes out from What's on the Cut Sheet Part Due. What's on tap for the Dawn Show today and who on Twitter today. A lot of people that want to weigh in. We're going to go through these phone calls. We've got our morning mystery movie clip winner. We've got people that want to talk about Biden's dogs and then also Senate hearings. Let's grab Tricia in Philadelphia first and foremost. She is our morning mystery movie clip winner, and I believe she has identified the Maya Rudolph movie. Tricia, good morning. How are you? What was the clip we just played for you?
Good morning, everybody. The clip that was just played was from Bridesmaids.
That is correct. Circa 2011, Maya Rudolph, Bridesmaids. Congratulations, Tricia. $50 gift card, Metro Diner. Get yourself some breakfast, get yourself some waffles, and enjoy the summer. We appreciate you listening.
Thank you so much. Yes, and I was listening all week, and this is the first time I got through. But thank you so much. Yeah,
all right.
Have a great day, guys.
You got it, Tricia, and we appreciate you listening all week long. That's what people do on Kayal Company. They just keep listening, round and round and round, taking their shots for gift cards to the diner. I like that. Let's go down to our buddy Craig, who has been trying to get me to go fishing in Maryland and go crabbing. Craig's got some thoughts on Biden's dogs. What's up, Craigie?
Yeah, hey, what's up, dude?
What up?
Dudes and dudettes. So I've called him before. Biden's first dog that he got, he had the one that he bought from a Amish dealer, and he got a bunch of crap. So when he ran for president, my wife and I bet that he was going to go and adopt a dog from a shelter, and he did. Delaware Humane Association. Well, we got our dog Trinity from the same litter, and when Major started biting people, the first dog, people were like, we were laughing. I was like, well, my dog only bites liberals, and that's when I point him out. But thank you, Kamala. But with his new one, I mean, that's just, that's kind of tells you there's more to it than going on when two dogs do the same thing. Dogs just don't do that for,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know whether hunters, it could be a hunter doing some cocaine with it or something. I don't know.
There seems to be a pattern, right? I agree. So let me get this right. Just so I got this straight, though. You have a dog from the same litter as Joe Biden.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I even sent an invite or try to get an invite from Jill to have a play date out on the lawn out there, but they wouldn't do it.
Right. Well, yeah, they're not going to come down to Maryland to see you.
My wife's a Philly girl.
Because Jill's a Philly girl, and she's not going to venture down that way. But there he is, Craig in Maryland. How about that? Small world. A couple of German Shepherds from the same litter.
Yeah.
How about that? They have something in common. Probably the only thing Craig and Joe Biden have in common. Let's try Lenny, who's in Pittman. He's got some thoughts on the Senate hearings. Lenny, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Maybe it's just me and I have too much time on my hands now that I'm retired. But I watch these hearings for the simple fact of the subject matter. And I watched the IRS whistleblowers, and then yesterday was about immigration. Now, I would think, even as a Democrat, if you have a problem with, you'd want to get to the bottom of the question. But every Democrat wants to talk about January 6th, Donald Trump, systemic racism, and George Floyd. And I'm thinking, I'm just asking, shouldn't it be the questions? Shouldn't it have, not grandstanding? Shouldn't that be the time to ask the subject matter?
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you. And I actually watched an interview yesterday, Lenny, and I appreciate the call, where there was a Democrat congressman from New York. I was getting ready to watch the 5, and I always end up catching like the last 7 or 8 minutes of Cavuto. And they had a Democrat congressman from New York talking about how they need to have more of a bipartisan venture agreement in place when it comes to some of this stuff with immigration with the border. Because this Democratic, and I give this person credit, he was one of the few that actually signed off on one of these pieces of legislation in regards to China and fentanyl coming through the southern border. So like these are the things where like we got to stop playing politics with and have more bipartisan agreement on. Because nobody, and this I forget the congressman's name from New York, younger fellow, and he was talking about he can't go back into his community and his district that he's in and look these parents in the face that have had to deal with the untimely and unfortunate death of their children from taking fentanyl and opioids. So from as far as the border goes, I'm totally with you, and we appreciate the phone call. One last story. Speaking of dogs and Craig from Maryland with his dog, I got to share this story. I've been sitting on this since July 20th, so about a week, and I just never get to it, and this is great. You guys all remember the movie Castaway, right? With Tom Hanks. Lost out at sea.
Yeah, sure.
It's just him and Wilson, the volleyball. Wilson! He's losing Wilson. This actually happened to somebody in real life, and this person survived, except he didn't have a volleyball with him. He had his dog. A sailor, and this is from the New York Post, a sailor and a dog amazingly survive on rainwater and raw fish while adrift in the ocean for 2 months. This is a remarkable story. An Australian man has been rescued in the Pacific after surviving for 2 months on rainwater and raw fish in what has been linked to the film Castaway, but his companion was a dog, not a hand-printed volleyball. Sydney resident from Sydney, Australia, Tim Shattuck, a 51-year-old cancer survivor, and his pooch Bella set off from La Paz, Mexico in April on a journey to French Polynesia. But their vessel was damaged in a storm several weeks later, according to Australia's 9 News. The pair survived for over 60 days by drinking rainwater and eating raw fish as they waited for a miracle while adrift in the Pacific. On Wednesday, this was last Wednesday, a helicopter conducting surveillance for a tuna trawler spotted the tiny man and dog bobbing in the middle of the vast ocean. This is legitimately Tom Hanks, except Hanks made it to like an island where he tried to basically kill himself and then had to do dental work with an ice skate. This is a remarkable story. I couldn't survive 2 days out in the ocean by myself.
I loved this story.
Oh, so you saw this too?
Yeah, I love it because any dog story, I'm a sucker for.
Yeah.
But I believe that the dog, and this was amazing that they spent all this time together, but I think that he had rescued the dog, But then I believe that because he wanted to go back out to sea,
Mm-hmm.
he gave away the dog.
Oh, he did?
So the dog was like not his long-term dog. He
Okay.
had rescued the dog at some point.
Yeah.
The dog gets on the boat with him. They share this time together, and you would think, oh, this is,
Mhm.
his dog. Then he ended up saying, nope, I'm going back out to the sea. I'm not going to feed the dog.
Yeah. This guy is a retired IT worker, which, by the way, you get to retire at 51 as an IT worker. That's not a bad life. I'd like to do that in myself in about 13 years. There you go.
The question is, at some point, did he think about eating the dog? Did the dog think if he dies, I'm eating him?
Well,
I mean, the
you want
dog
raw
would not,
dog or raw fish?
The dog would not think twice about eating if it was hungry. The dog would not think twice about eating. So I think at some point you do have to say.
Oh, you mean the dog would eat the human?
Oh yeah, of course. It's a dog.
Yeah.
Starving?
Dog eat dog world, right?
Absolutely.
That's what they say.
So I know dogs are the most loyal breed, and I'm a dog person. But I'm just saying.
Right.
If it came down to survival.
If you're dead and the dog's hungry, he's going to chomp on you a little bit. Maybe pull a page out of the Biden playbook.
Would you eat the dog to survive?
Yeah.
But he thank God he knew how to fish.
Right. Yeah. He's
So
picking
he
up,
didn't
he's
have to deal
killing
with
raw. It's not like Tom Hanks in Castaway where he's making the fire on the beach and he's spearing the crabs out of the water and he's cooking it over the fire. That's how you live, man. That's what I do at Ocean City, Maryland every year. I go to the crab buffet. I just don't catch them killing myself. I sit at a table like a human. All right, 9:39. Let's wrap it up on a Thursday with What's on the Cut Sheet Part 2.
What's on the cut sheet?
Part 2. Nick, I think yesterday you said in the Big Take, maybe it was, that it's the year of the whistleblowers.
That's correct. No. Oh, yeah, today's Big Take, yes.
Okay. Lot of things with whistleblowers, between UFOs, Hunter Biden, all kinds of stuff. The media, though, has changed their tune a little bit on whistleblowers. In 2019, when the whistleblowers were exposing what was happening in the Trump administration, whistleblowers need to be protected, believed, and praised.
Now we should kill them all.
Now, in 2023, when they're exposing the Biden administration, not so much.
Okay.
So, luckily, here on Kayal Company, and with our help, with help from our friends at Grabian, we keep receipts. So let me see if you can spot the difference between 2019 and 2023 when it comes to whistleblowers.
The attack on the whistleblower is never wise. It's never lawful. It's never honorable. It's everything you said. It's a travesty.
So you get that? The attack on a whistleblower is never wise. It's never thoughtful. It's never...
Right.
Okay. That was 2019, Nicole Wallace. Would you like to hear what she says now
Yeah,
about
well,
whistleblowers?
4 years has gone by.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to call them whistleblowers.
They don't deserve whistleblower protection. Each and every one of them has a strange history, has, guess what, Russian connections.
They always do.
These are not, as we would consider them, whistleblowers, people who are alleging wrongdoing.
They weren't really whistleblowers at all. In fact, they weren't even credible witnesses.
2 or 3 people who are political operatives, but they're not whistleblowers. These guys are not whistleblowers, period.
Well, I guess that solves it.
Hardworking, patriotic person in the intelligence community who just wants to put the information out there.
The president to call into question the credibility of this whistleblower. They're referring to this whistleblower as the so-called whistleblower.
Thanks, Lee.
So-called whistleblower on the Biden family.
Welcome back to so-called whistleblower from the so-called whistleblowers.
See, so-called whistleblowers. So-called whistleblowers.
So-called whistleblowers.
So-called whistleblower.
So-called whistleblower.
So-called whistleblowers.
You get it.
So when it's Donald Trump, it's these whistleblowers are honest Americans just fulfilling their job duties.
They were mocking the Trump administration for
right.
calling them so-called whistleblowers.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny how that works. You just go a D versus an R, a Biden versus Trump, and it's just a complete role reversal. Now these are rogue, untrustworthy individuals.
A little bit more here.
Whistleblowers, that's what he's calling them.
Whistleblower. Quote-unquote, whistleblowers.
Alleged IRS whistleblower.
The GOP is marketing as whistleblowers.
Quote-unquote whistleblowers.
Jim Jordan, who's the chair of the Oversight Committee, is lauding them as brave Americans.
Let's go back to 2019.
Whistleblower, a true patriot coming forward with the allegations.
That's why the whistleblower is a hero in many ways.
This whistleblower is a hero.
The whistleblower is a public servant.
And now,
To stay anonymous.
kind of like heroism is being kind of thrust on this person.
We can't imply this person is partisan.
The person has been deemed credible and a patriot.
Great courage to do the right thing.
The whistleblower did was really patriotic.
This whistleblower was not alone spiritually.
The best composed, best written, best documented such complaint I've ever seen.
Thank you, whistleblower. I consider your complaint to be credible and urgent.
Do what Donald Trump was doing in going after or targeting the people who helped this, I would say, very brave whistleblower.
Very brave. All right, let's go to 2023, shall we? Once again.
If you've got an allegation against the Biden family, then come on board, because you too can be their next whistleblower.
Hunter Biden's whistleblower.
Right.
This whistleblower who is going to just tell us all the horrible things he'd been up to.
Reappropriating the term whistleblower after doing everything they could to endanger the life of the actual whistleblower that led to Donald Trump's first impeachment. The actual whistleblower. The actual whistleblower.
You know, there's no fame or fortune in being a whistleblower. There's no celebrity status with it. If anything, you put your safety at risk. There's really nothing to gain and everything to lose from not only your safety, but your career. So, again, I ask you, regardless of politics, when somebody comes forward with facts and information, they're doing it because they're fulfilling a job duty or their own conscience. I usually take them at face value.
I just love these. I love to see how narratives change.
I know.
Everywhere. It's just, it is depending on what, if it's our team that is doing it, we're for it. Mm-hmm. But if it's not, well, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Alexander Vindman, he was the one who testified against Trump, who's then since has retired, but he was like the Virgin Mother saint. Remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah, and now these people that, and by the way, anybody, I even heard people on the liberal side of the aisle, the two whistleblowers that came forward on from the Hunter Biden stuff, nobody called into question these two.
No.
So, like, I don't understand this narrative changing like this, but.
I don't understand how anybody can take the mainstream media seriously anymore. Yeah. I mean, like, I get it. Not everybody's got the access to Grabian like we do to pull up but it's like, yeah, this is the side you want to ride with, huh? Okay.
Chris Sununu says that he does not think that Joe Biden, Freudian slip there, Joe Biden will be the nominee in 2024.
Find the right
I want to turn to what the extraordinary thing that happened in a federal courthouse in Delaware yesterday, and the Hunter Biden plea deal falls apart. And your Republican colleagues in Congress are pouncing on it, trying to conflate what the whistleblowers have said, which is important to hear, but that's not what was at issue in the courtroom yesterday. But here's a sampling of what they said.
It collapsed because it was a sweetheart deal from a family that was being protected. Hunter Biden being the main character.
Hunter Biden is getting a sweetheart deal that no other American who wasn't rich and had a father who's the president would ever get, ever.
If you believe the whistleblowers and what they're saying, no, this was a sweetheart deal. It was corrupt in terms of how it was handled.
You know, you have said you're not going to get elected president by bashing the Hunter Biden deal. Do you still feel that way?
Well, look, I've said very clearly, anytime a politician or a politician's family has the word deal next to them, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. I don't think this is the only thing, but I'm going to tell you, I don't think Joe Biden is the nominee in 24. And this is just one drop, of the many drops in the bucket. No, I don't.
Who is?
I think he's going to go through the primary process. I think he's going to collect all the delegates, and I think you're going to see a wild convention where he and his people start steering the delegates somewhere else. I really believe that, sincerely. I think it's a health thing. I think it's the Hunter Biden thing. They're doing everything to make sure that he doesn't have to testify and have to sit there in court and open all this other stuff. The whole book gets opened up if that process happens. So, look, I don't know whether it's a grand scheme. I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any means, but I just think that's the way it's playing out. I don't think Trump or Biden are on that ticket.
All right, so Chris Sununu in the stalker camp. No Trump, no Biden. Two new combatants come on down somehow, some way.
Am I the only person on the show that feels this way?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I could see right now, if I had to go on record, and I go on record every day, I still think it'll be Biden-Trump. Then I would say the second most likely scenario is that one of those two are not involved. I think your scenario is, I think, compelling as it would be, and what Americans want, 70% want 2 new people. I think that is the least likely of scenarios. But I'm not saying there's a 0% chance. You have a shot at getting this right, Greg. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's likely.
But I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
At the same time, I wouldn't be surprised. Seriously.
15 months is a long way. I mean, it feels like
take a stand, people. You're both like, well, yeah, it could happen. Say yes or no. Come on.
No, it will not happen.
Okay. Dawn, yes or no? Will it happen? I'm saying yes. Right here on July 27th, 2024, it will not be Trump v. Biden in 2024.
I agree.
Wow.
I disagree.
I agree, but there might be surprises along the way. It could be Trump v. someone.
Could be Ramaswamy and RFK.
But I think Biden, I think the Democrats have decided.
Oh, so you think it's going to be Biden, or
Yeah.
you think it's going to be Trump but not Biden?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be either.
Well, Trump against Gavin Newsom?
He'd trounce him.
I would like to think so, but I don't think that's the case.
He won't.
No.
Can we squeeze in one more?
Yeah, let's pinch one more.
MSNBC's, we talked about how all the mainstream media were forced to cover the Hunter Biden news yesterday when his plea deal went to, how can I clean this up, crap. And this was how MSNBC reported it, saying that it would be political malpractice for the Biden administration to rely on deflection of its personal matter on Hunter problems.
Elise Jordan, thanks for joining us on this. We're talking about and looking at the timeline here, right? And it's not great for President Biden as you're looking at how this is all going to play out. They thought this was going to be done within an hour and a half today, but this thing could run smack dab right up into election season. How does that play not only for the president, but for Republicans who were hoping to use this against the president on the campaign trail?
This is just catnip for Republicans. They want to go after Hunter Biden as a means of attacking Joe Biden and also deflecting from all of the corruption of the Trump family back, so many years ago and throughout actually the entirety of Donald Trump's entire career. But they're using this to create equivalence, and they're going to keep beating on this and hammering away at it. And the reality is it's not a good story for Joe Biden. It might not be as bad as what other politicians and their families have done, but it still is not a good story. And so he is going to have to navigate this. And I really think that the deflection of it's a personal matter, we don't comment, I don't know how long we're going to get away with that. And I think it has been a bit of political malpractice to keep turning to that over and over and over.
I've never seen an administration get away with more from not having to speak up and say anything. So to that point, I agree at the end there. But to say that this is just a distraction from Republicans, I mean, so you're just ignoring all the facts. We're just dismissing evidence here because you think that this is just gamesmanship. I mean, you're not paying attention to this case.
That's what I got.
All right, that'll do it for the Cut Sheet Part 2. We will find out who won Twitter today in a couple of minutes, but we're just about 8 minutes out from the Dawn Show. So what do you say we find out what Ms. Stensland has lined up in 8 minutes?
Yeah, so updating you on all the impeach Krasner stuff, and we'll go through it, all of the developing stories happening with District Attorney Larry Krasner. Is he out of here? What are the next legal steps that are going to happen? Also, Donald Trump making some statements this morning as well as yesterday. You'll hear from him as the word of another indictment is looming with a criminal indictment this time. Coming up and we're going to go through, we have Congressman Van Drew speaking out in that hot, passionate congressional hearing yesterday with Mayorkas, where they're marching toward impeachment. And locally, Congressman Van Drew, the dentist, was one of those speaking out, and what he called for, he's the only one to do something in that meeting. Stephen Caruso of Spotlight PA will be along at 10:30, updating us on the Shapiro, Pennsylvania budget, what's going on with that, and as well school choice, other issues, what it means. And then my friend Christine Flowers, she'll be along of Broad and Liberty, 11:15. Christine will be here to break down another court ruling that greatly impacts the Biden administration's plan for talking about the southern border. So some big news there.
All right, the Dawn Show coming up at 10 o'clock this morning as we wrap it up on a Thursday with Who Won Twitter today.
Who won Twitter?
The Bachelor Chris wins Twitter. He tweeted this early this morning. It's like 6:45, but nobody topped it yet this morning. So he says nothing is as great as when real Dawn's feelings escape, and she calls it as she sees it, without filtered Dawn getting in the way. Real Dawn must be part Italian. I'm so damn proud of her. The Bachelor
Dawn,
Chris.
you better keep your mouth closed.
The Bachelor Chris wins Twitter today.
Nice work out of
I
Chris.
thought he was the greater Chris. Now he's the Bachelor
Chris. Yeah, he changes it. It's an ongoing, evolving Twitter handle changing. Yeah.
All right.
Well, he's the greater and the bachelor.
Right.
Chris is my buddy. He knows that. I love Chris.
There you go.
Hopefully he's going down to, I'm sure he's going down to Cape May today to see Zioli.
Oh, that's right.
By the way, Zioli live from Cape May today from 3 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
From the Grand Hotel.
There you
go.
go.
Down and see him.
Beautiful.
They got some celebrities showing up, I hear. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Ooh,
That's what I hear.
Celebrities? What kind of celebrities?
I thought Zioli was wounded. How is he how is he able to get to Cape May?
I thought his colon was still on the mend.
Actually, his colon and small intestine, they should jar it and sell it off for charity or something.
Pickle it and put it in a mason jar. I agree. All right, that'll do it for us on a Thursday. A Crazy Friday show on tap for tomorrow. Stay tuned. The Dawn Show is next. We're back at 6 o'clock. And as our favorite senator would say,